unveils early. These are all fake uniforms from Saturday Down South. But we do have specialty uniforms that pop up in college athletics. But you would say the SEC, unlike other conferences, we get fewer in this league.
Specialty uniforms?
Yeah, than we do anywhere else.
Missouri, Kentucky, Arkansas.
I think there's people that have multiple uniforms,
Yeah.
they use
Florida
those.
plays around with them.
Yeah, Florida has done it way more than they should. I agree.
Saturday Down South used AI.
Okay.
To give us Michigan this past week did a blackout uniform where everything was sort of murdered out, so to speak. Here is AI version of the SEC uniforms. This is a blackout Texas A&M uniform. Not a bad look.
I don't like it.
Okay. This is Ole Miss blackout uniform.
Is everybody blacking out? Are these going to be blackouts?
These are all blackouts.
Oh, no. Ole Miss needs to go with the powder blue jersey. They do not need to black it out.
It still look like a blue helmet.
Mississippi State blackout.
Okay, not awful.
I can do that.
State's got some bad combos. That's a good one.
That's the leader so far?
Yep.
All right. Arkansas blackout.
Okay.
That's okay. I like Mississippi State still the best.
Yeah.
Okay. What's next, Forrester? LSU blackout.
Negative.
Yeah,
terrible.
Their uniform's way too good.
Awful.
Well, you're going to hate Alabama's then.
Well, of course I am.
There's Alabama's blackout.
I don't even want to look at that.
That's terrible.
I mean,
Terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know how many more we have, Forrester. Is there another one?
Yeah.
Where's that white helmet?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's Auburn.
No,
Auburn's blackout.
Terrible. Terrible. Alabama and Auburn have too good a uniform to mess with it.
Yep. Is that it, Forrester? Nope. Yep. Back to Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. Yeah.
So anti the blackout uniform.
Yeah.
I think it's been about half. So we know Georgia has messed with theirs a little bit, which they never should have.
Yep.
Missouri has, Florida has, Tennessee has, Kentucky, South Carolina, Vanderbilt. Everybody in the East has. Alabama, LSU, are they the only ones that haven't?
Auburn.
Auburn, yeah.
I remember when Alabama, the only adjustment I can ever remember them making, they did the white helmet when I was a kid.
This is the terrible one, right? Early 2000s?
It was, I think, 6. It was a Shula year, right?
Yeah.
And they
Collar?
did the houndstooth collar.
That was awful.
And I was like, what are you doing, Alabama? I mean, you should be ashamed
If you
of
asked Nick
yourself.
Saban to go to a houndstooth collar, what would he say?
I mean, I don't think he's pressing that button on the door to shut it. Well, and you be on the other side, okay?
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
Well, he may have said, what's on our collar now?
Yeah,
He probably might even know what's on the collar right now.
I guarantee you he'd know if it was houndstooth.
Yeah.
Well, the year after Coach Bryant passed, if they'd done a houndstooth collar, you'd have been like, okay, they're paying tribute to the coach who just passed away.
Well, yeah. But
Yeah,
even
you
still.
could stomach that.
You know, it's interesting. I went to breakfast at my daughter's school this morning.
And I saw you had a corn dog.
Yeah, corn dog for breakfast. How about that?
I like
Some
that.
fruit cocktail.
Is it a sausage dog, or were they just cooking up lunch already?
You know, I still think it was your standard corn dog, but they gave you syrup to dip it in.
Okay.
Scott's got the photo there. People were asking me if I was eating at Aliceville Women's Prison, if I was
My
there
goodness,
visiting my friends. No, that was breakfast at my daughter's school. We do that once a month, and she loves it. But today was wear your favorite team gear or jersey day. And it is interesting when you go to a school to see all the different schools that are or fan bases that are represented there.
Right.
And you see how many different jerseys the kids have on, even the pro ones.
Were most of them college or some?
It was a decent mix. Yeah, you had some Messi jerseys, some Lionel Messi jerseys.
Oh,
you know,
a little soccer.
yeah.
action.
You had a lot of Saints jerseys. I saw some Falcons. I mean, it's going to be dominated by Alabama and Auburn.
Yeah.
LSU. Of course, she was in her Tua jersey.
Yeah. Was she Tua?
Of course, Jim. I mean, what do you think?
Was she able to go to all 7 periods today, or did she have to take a little time out to go to the nurse's office?
Who's your quarterback tonight, Jim?
It could be Baker Mayfield.
Interesting.
He's questionable.
Yeah.
Questionable. This hour brought to you by Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Appreciate Sterling so much. Great for lunch and great for dinner down there. There you see all the great food. Cooked to order Southern fried chicken, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and the hand-cut chicken fingers. That's our friends at Champy's Chicken. Brownie, what's on the overtime today? I'm about to talk to Tyler Watts.
It's Spit and Luke.
It's Spit and Loose
All
with
right.
Lance Taylor and ESPN's Tom Luganbill spitting them.
So more of Luganbill coming up here with LT at the top of the hour. Don't have to change anything. Remember, like and subscribe here on our Next Round YouTube channel, and do it over at Disrupt the Media as well on YouTube. It's where you get all that content, including Roll Tide Pods and War Damn Pods. It's all right there at Disrupt the Media. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Okay, there was a time when Jim Dunaway lost a Toyota Tercel. Do I need to retell the story? Does everybody
we
remember
got
it?
new people on the show all the time. They may not have heard it.
I know where this is going.
Cliff notes for us. Cliff notes.
All right, so there was a time when young Jim Dunaway had a gambling problem, and we tell you all the time that you should never bet more than you can afford to lose. It's for entertainment, right? You do it for entertainment. It's like going to the movies or something.
Yeah, if you're betting to make money, if it's like a side hustle for you, it ain't a good thing.
Losing proposition, that is.
Yeah.
So
and there's help if you need help, too.
There is help.
You've got issues.
Yeah, but you
Lance'sLock.com.
Yeah.
Last night, 0-4. Dunaway, you must have been on some of my plays last night because that Bills thing, I don't know if you're going to get to the Bills.
That's what I'm going to.
Okay.
Let me set up. So I had a day off from local TV where I didn't have to cover a game. It was an Alabama bye week, much like this weekend.
Right.
So me and my buddies, we owned a house at the time over at Sherwood Forest, real place in Birmingham, Alabama. 3 guys.
Robin Hood and Little John.
Were you the sheriff?
Well, let me tell you, I wasn't that weekend. I was not stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. I lost games all day long on Saturday, and back then you had a number.
That's
you
right.
call in your number. Hey, it's 147. I'll take 50 on this team and 50 on
Do you
this
remember your
team.
number? I was 503.
I think I was 475.
Yeah, I kept my 503.
I think I was 475, somewhere around there. I was actually friends with one of the runners for the local bookie who'd sit at the corner of a barbecue shop bar and just make notes all day long. And it got to the point where he's like, "You sure, Jim?" Or, excuse me, "You're sure 475?"
475.
But he knew who I was.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we're going to get better here at night. Next day, I end up losing on basketball where I think Bobby Knight in Indiana was getting 20 points at home to Kansas on national TV. And no way Bobby Knight was going to lose by 20 at home. He did.
It was down 20 in the first half. I think I remember the story.
And what do you do on Monday night? Back in the old days,
Chase
you
it.
chase it.
The old Monday Night Chaser.
Chased it. So the old bookie sent word to my friend, hey, he needs some money. And I was like, I don't have it. I got some of it. So he took the cash I had. He took my Toyota Tercel that I had no payment on. He took my Ping golf clubs. He took my stereo with the cool stand-up speakers in each corner of my room, 4 stand-up speakers. He came in and did not take my yeah, we did. He took the whole CD stand lamp that you got from the what was the place in across from where the mall is now, and you'd have to you
Service merchandise?
Surface merchandise.
You get the tag, and then you take it to them.
It'd come out the conveyor
Yeah.
belt. Yeah. So I had that little lamp that you spun it on and off, dimming lights that had a S curve, and you had your CDs stacked in that. He was like going through the CDs, and I'll take that one, throw it away.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
Boy, it is amazing those things had monetary value back in the day.
Took everything he wanted.
Somebody broke into my first house in Tuscaloosa and stole my CD collection.
Yeah.
Like they risked going to jail
Just to get some
steal,
CDs?
to steal CDs.
They'd break your windows and pull out your stereo and take your CD folders back in the day.
You remember the rich kids had the pull-out stereo?
I was going to say that they would come to school and their stereos in their backpack. And leave it in the parking lot. Yeah.
But here, so all that to tell you that bad things can happen in gambling. Last night, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I always tell you this. There were a lot of people saying the game's fixed,
Last night was fixed.
There were some people, well, wait, some people were on Tampa Bay to cover, so it can't be fixed.
No, I'm saying the official. I'm not saying the game was like, hey, we're going to sit down. This is the way it's scripted out. There was an official last night that had money on Tampa.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, we've heard it in the grasp and protecting the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
I did a complete meltdown video. I sent it to Taylor in this morning. I was like, don't post it.
Oh, wow. That bad.
Well, I mean, do we not protect the quarterbacks? It was 4th down. He has him in the grasp.
He was a runner, though, at that point. He was running at that point. Listen, it burned me too, my friend. It burned me for.
It was the most ridiculous shit that I have seen in the NFL this year, and I've seen some terrible stuff.
Oh, you didn't watch the Dolphins Eagles.
Have you not? Did you see late last night?
I did, yes.
I mean, how many times do they call on the grass there? It's fourth down.
Yeah.
He's got him completely wrapped.
I do think on fourth down, they are probably hesitant to blow that whistle. They don't want to, especially in that situation.
Right.
And I know they'll call the game in the first minute the way you do in the
You've
last
got a
minute.
defensive end on his back.
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield's not getting out of that.
I know, but I'm just saying, I think in that situation, they don't want to end a game with an in the grass.
Yeah, but for those of you, we'll jump to the story, into the story here. Last night, Tampa Bay, 9.5 points. It's 24-10. Should have been 34-10, 38-10 at that point, but it's 24-10. Tampa Bay goes on a 17-play drive.
That's right.
With one of the worst offenses in all of football on the road.
17-play drive that included 2 fourth downs that were not picked up, but then there were a penalty. Mm-hmm. And they got another opportunity, and a penalty, and another opportunity, including, as LT told you there, a sack of Baker Mayfield that included an obvious face mask. No reason for that guy to pull the face mask as he's falling to the ground, but he does. A new set of downs for Tampa Bay. It gets to be 4th down and 10 at the end, and they bounce a ball off the helmet to Mike Evans for a touchdown to cover.
That's
and
right.
And for those of you that were in game betting, as some people were telling me on who was it? It was it was Brett. Excuse me, Brad. Brad says I had the Bills minus 6.5 in game betting. So why in the world did they go for 2?
It was. I was baffled. I mean, why would you go to? You cut it to 7 with a extra point.
I know, but that's the new school way of thinking. Is
fire him.
The new school way of thinking is 2-point conversions are a 50-50 or better proposition now. So I go for it there. And if I don't get it, the odds tell me, the analytics tell me, I'll get the next one because it's a 50-50 proposition. If I do get it there, now if they hit the Hail Mary, which if Chris Godwin just turns around and holds his hands up,
he's wide
they
open.
hit the Hail Mary.
Okay.
All they got to do is kick the point for the victory.
The flip
win,
side
yeah.
to that coin, though, if you don't get the 2-point conversion, and by the way, did you see how they got the 2-point
They
conversion?
bounced it off somebody else's hands.
Yeah, complete joke there. If you don't do it, and then you get the ball, and you don't get it again, you lose the game.
You do. That's why it's a gamble.
So that's why 99% you're going to hit a 38-yard extra point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but-
you're 50-50 if you go to overtime. If you just kick each time,
That's right.
you're 50-50 in overtime.
Yeah.
So you've done 3 50-50s.
So
It's
you
the
guys agreed with going for 2?
I don't agree with it, but I
necessarily agree
understand
with
the
it.
math behind it.
Yeah, see, I don't, but
You understand the math. You just disagree
I
with
understand the math, but
Yeah.
I think the safer math is to take that to
it.
overtime.
Not on the road, I don't think it is.
Well, the way the officials were last night, I would have known that.
What are your odds of beating Buffalo if you're Tampa in overtime?
Well, it depends if you get the ball or not.
But there again, now it's a coin flip. It's 50-50. So you've got a bunch of 50-50 propositions.
Well,
you're
I got to
here.
be honest. I have never, or I can't recall seeing a team that cuts it to potentially 7 that goes for 2 that
I
way.
have.
Oh, that happens all the time.
Happens
in
a
the
lot
NFL.
now. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it happens a ton. It's just a new way of doing it, and people question it all the time. But a lot of coaches do it now.
Brad writes in last night, I live bet the Bills at minus 6.5. Still have zero clue why they went for 2 there. Make no sense at all. I know they're your team, but I hope they lose every game now.
Kevin makes a great point. You're upset because you were gambling, and now you're upset at the coach because he was gambling.
Ultimately, it didn't matter on that. The 2-point conversion did nothing for me because I had the game at 9.5. So that did absolutely nothing. I needed touchdown or them to not score a touchdown in the first place. I'm just saying it would have been hilarious if you don't get the 2-point conversion and don't get it again. That's the first. I'll tell you another thing. First Hail Mary I think I've ever seen where nobody touched football.
No, but again, if Godwin just turns around and hits him in the chest.
But how often have you guys ever seen a Hail Mary where nobody touches it?
Very rare.
But I'll tell you what would have happened. What would have happened?
What,
right there.
Godwin bounces off his chest?
If Godwin does spin around and does happen to grab it, catch it last moment, there would have been a late flag. They would have called Mike Evans for offensive pass.
think so?
Probably.
Because he basically grabbed, because he helped them both up. And Mike Evans is not a help you up kind of guy. I think he horse collared both of them and pulled them to the ground.
Well, and another thing on Mike Evans' final touchdown, the one they covered, I think that they were going to throw the flag defensive. I think they were going to call a PI if he doesn't catch football.
You think they were?
I saw the official. They were going to make sure.
I thought they were going to call an offensive pass
I think they were going to, because it was kind of face guarding a little bit.
You actually kind of got a bad break. Like the play before the Hail Mary when they call unabated to the quarterback. If you're Tampa, you'd rather them let that play go. Now, assuming Baker Mayfield doesn't get killed.
You get a free look.
You get a free look at a Hail Mary. And now you got 2 chances at a Hail Mary. You kind of caught a bad break there. Now, you get 5 yards closer, which made it easier to throw for Mayfield, but still.
It showed me again, though, that you are right about something. And I've kind of agreed with you the last couple of years. I think Josh Allen is one of the top 2 or 3 crybabies in the NFL.
It's every play.
It is nonstop.
It is nonstop.
And that Buffalo team's not good.
Yeah, I can't figure them out. Boy, against my Dolphins, they looked like absolute world beaters. And since then, they have not played good football.
They're not good.
And can't figure them out. On a given day, they can be good.
I've seen it.
Yeah, they're not a team you want to face in the playoffs.
I think officiating.
I think they actually are.
I don't want to play them up there.
Maybe if it's the AFC Championship game because they don't go to the Super Bowl.
Well, I was going to say, just let me know that next time Josh Allen wins a really big football game.
Well, they've won some playoff games, haven't they?
Yeah, but they've never.
Yeah, but when the chips are on the table, it's he does not. And it's not always his fault.
No.
Like that Chiefs game was not his fault.
Yeah. All that to tell you guys that if you want that kind of excitement in your life when you're watching a meaningless Thursday night game between a 3-3 and a 4-3 team, all you have to do is go to our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag.
Yeah, code next round gets you signed on right there with a 110% sign-on bonus. You make your initial deposit. They give you a 110% bonus. Whether or not you agree with the 2-point conversion math, you cannot argue with this math. That's free money. 110% free money. You can use it right away, win once with it, and it is yours forever. Some of these places will give you a bonus. You get that bet that bonus 5, 6, 7 times. Your odds of winning that aren't great. Not at mybookie.ag. You win once, it's yours forever. Mybookie.ag, you get that when you use code NEXTROUND. Code NEXTROUND at mybookie.ag. Code NEXTROUND. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Mybookie.ag. Code NEXTROUND. I don't know that a fix was in or anything like that. I do know.
Well, I mean, let's assume that there was not a fix.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Because in Vegas or in gambling terms,
you don't
LT,
get,
there
this
are
is
other
this is
sides.
simple.
People
Let me explain
winning.
this to you. No, I get that. I'm saying there was one official or a couple of officials that had Tampa last night.
Don't you feel like you only do that when you lose? That you only think games are fixed when you lose?
Well, yeah. I think that's the way any gambler does.
No. I've been on the right side of some of this stuff, too.
And you thought it was fixed?
So you actually think there are games that are fixed? I mean, you say some things on the show that I think you just react to emotions, but you really absolutely feel like
what I did this
fixed.
morning? I said, man, what can I do that will be a little controversial?
No.
That's what I like doing, man. I want to play radio with you, Dunaway.
You really believe games are fixed on a regular basis?
Not on a regular basis. There was something up with that last night.
Those were all penalties. They were all penalties.
That quarterback in the grasp at 4th down?
He's not a quarterback at that point. He's out of the pocket. He's running the football.
He was not out of the pocket.
He was. He was
I
running.
will bet you any amount of money he was not out of the pocket.
Oh.
Any amount of money. What do you want to go right now?
No. Maybe I'm misremembering. I thought he'd taken off to start running.
You're about to see it right here. So just watch the highlights.
All right.
You can. Right. I'll tell you to look over when it comes up.
I thought he had started running at that point.
So I do think, though, and I don't know if it's just that replays are better now, if we look at the minute details of the game now, but officiating's got a problem. You'll grant me officiating's got a problem.
Any more than it ever has been?
That's what I'm saying. I think it's because I don't know that.
Well,
we're more aware now than we've ever been because of the detail we get from replays.
The stakes are higher, though. I mean, people are making more money.
Right.
If people are making more money, I think NFL is a big enough entity where these guys need to be 24/7 officials.
And you think they'd be better if they were 24/7?
I do, yeah.
officials?
I think if they were if it were a full-time job, they would be better. Would they be perfect? No, but they would be better.
I mean, do you know anybody's perfect at their side hustle?
No, but
No,
you're
that's my
better at
point.
anything
This is their
when it's your
side
full-time.
hustle.
This is their side hustle. You're better at anything when it's your full-time job, and that's all you concentrate on. I agree 100% with Lance.
So
You've always argued this, but
I'm just saying, in baseball, they play 162 games.
Yep.
It's hard to be part-time in baseball. It's hard to be part-time in basketball.
Yep.
But we ride the basketball officials because they work too much.
That's
now,
right.
These guys are going to sit around and work 18 weeks out of the year on one day a week?
Well, they're not going to sit around. They're going to train the entire week.
Yeah, and then
They sharpen their skills.
Yeah, not only that, you can train other officials that are upcoming.
That's
You
right.
can do other things for the NFL.
Yeah.
You're an NFL employee.
And you made your argument there. You think basketball officiating would be better if they were full-time? I think 100% it would.
Well, they are full-time.
No, they're not. They travel. They do 5 games a week. If they were full time, there's no way they would let them do 5 games a week. If they were full time, they would control what they did better, so it would be better officiating.
Oh, I see.
The problem with college basketball is there's no unified officiating. Like the SEC hires theirs, Sun Belt hires theirs, Big Ten hires theirs. So if I'm an official, I can do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday game. To heck with how much I have to travel to do it.
But I was talking about the NBA. I was talking about Major League Baseball, the NBA, since you were talking about the NFL.
In Major League Baseball, the issue is their union is too strong. Like when you guys got guys like Angel Hernandez, who clearly cannot call balls and strikes, Laz Diaz, who clearly cannot call balls and strikes, they don't get fired because they have an extremely strong union. That's your issue there. It's not whether they're full-time or not.
Yeah, in my opinion, you're asking humans to make calls that are 50-50 calls, that you can see them one way or the other on every play. But
I think you could be better
if you
at
guys
it.
are all sitting around expecting to watch a perfectly called game in any sport, it's not going to happen.
I'm not. But I think if an official was full-time, I would watch a better officiated game.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling me last night it was a face mask. Now you wanted to earlier whistle for in the grass.
4 seconds. Timed it out 4 seconds after he wrapped him up.
Oh, you went back in time?
In what world, in today's NFL, do you allow somebody to hang on a quarterback's back on 4th down when the play is over?
I would say on 4th down when he's trying to make a play is usually when they're going to let it happen.
I do think that is the issue here, is it was 4th down at the end of a game, and they were not. And again, I get the call it first day play like last play. I get that. But I think the human nature of the officials is we're going to let this thing ride out. We're not going to end the game on an in the grass call. Yeah. That could, right or wrong, I think that's what was at play there.
But the other penalty earlier, it was a penalty. It's stupid penalty, but it was a penalty. Just one of those nights that if you wager on a game and you had the Bills given the 9.5 or in-game live -6.5, it was one of those nights that left you talking to yourself as you went to bed.
But I know this sounds like better fan who's sitting here wearing Dolphins gear, but when you have a game like you did Sunday night where one team's got 10 penalties and one team has 0 penalties, you do start to say how that's not possible. That is absolutely impossible.
Yeah, much like Tennessee and Alabama 8-1 the other day.
That's not possible.
So I
mean, there's no way one team commits 1 penalty and one team commits 8. It's just not possible.
And
the same was true in was true in Knoxville for Alabama last year. What was that, like 13-6? It's not possible.
I think it was 17-6
or whatever. That's not possible.
There are some obvious calls that are missed, though. When you've got a critical 4th down in the game and all you've got to do is get the spot right, and the quarterback's knee is down a yard behind, and you give them the first down, I mean, I just don't know how you miss calls like that.
Having done it one time, spotting the ball is the hardest thing. It's easier because you got to do it in real time and run up there and spot the ball. Now, if you go back and do it on replay, that's different. You've got a slow-mo, you see where the ball's hit, you see where the ball is, and you go back out there and spot it. But nobody wants to stop every play to get every spot correct.
No, but if it's a 4th and inches, game on the line, I think everybody is focused on where the ball is, quarterback's knee when he's going down.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you can miss it that bad.
Well, if it's 4th and inches and it's a push forward kind of thing, I mean, that becomes a big pile of humanity. Yeah. That's hard to see.
No, I get that, but if the knee is going down behind the play, which it did. I'm just saying.
That's like you're talking about like a goal line play where there's a pile of bodies on the goal line and they come dig it up and then they signal touchdown. I'm like, how in the world did you know that was a touchdown?
I'm specifically,
or not.
I'm specifically talking about Kenny Pickett's sneak last week.
Where it was Rams?
Yeah, it wasn't a pile up. It was on outside the pocket.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. So it was a pretty obvious look at it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the show brought to you by our friends at A+, and then we'll get to some of the games that may or may not be scripted coming up this Saturday. Tell us about A+.
Hey, Jim, do you want a good script for your master bath or your kitchen?
Oh, I need one, man.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Well, you need to call A+. Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling. That's who did it in my house. Scott is showing you photos of our bathroom when we bought our house. We weren't crazy about it. It's functional, but we don't like the lighter colors. We wanted it a little more updated. So my wife scoured the internet looking for the best contractor to do the job. She found Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling, and Brad came through. We gave him our vision, which was a darker, more updated bathroom. And as Scott shows you the photos, you can see Brad came through with that. He did it to our standards, our specifications, our vision, not some cookie cutter, not some vision he brought in. He did it the way we wanted it done. His crews were timely. They were clean. They were efficient. They did great work. In fact, Lance saw these photos and he's like, I'd like mine updated. And as you could see when you see the photos from Lance's, it's the exact opposite. His was darker. He wanted lighter. It just shows you Brad's not just hung up on one way of doing it. He's going to do it to your vision. And we both love the work that Brad did for us. Master Bath and Kitchen. That's where you're going to get your money back when you remodel. Master Bath and Kitchen, and that's what Brad does. Here is his phone number. If you miss anything I've talked about, I'll be happy to get you in touch with Brad. Just reach out to me, 205-422-1758. Brad Bell, A-Plus Tile Home Remodeling, 205-422-1758.
A great win for Georgia Southern last night in college football over rival Georgia State. And then there's Virginia Tech, who just blew Syracuse out of the water in a contest there and a good home field advantage there in Blacksburg. Brandon, if you'll pull up the ACC standings.
Just looking at it, Jimmy.
I will tell you the remaining schedule for Virginia Tech, who now only has one loss. They're at Louisville, at Boston College, home to NC State, and at Virginia. Is there a path to Virginia Tech to get to the ACC championship game as a 4-4 team right now?
As you look at that, Brent Pry is doing a really good job. I thought that they would get derailed last night because Syracuse defense was so good the beginning of the season, and they have completely fallen apart. And I brought this up yesterday. Syracuse has lost 3 consecutive games, but it was North Carolina, it was Clemson, and it was Florida State. So those are understandable losses. But coming out and beginning that game, Virginia Tech's offense looked like LSU. They scored touchdowns. They scored on all 6 of their first possessions. 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals.
Yeah. So before we get to that, then let's talk about Brent Pry, who is, saving his job, right? Because he was on his way to being fired.
Well, it's year 2 for him.
Yeah, it's year 2.
You think he was?
They were in a horrible situation. They got off to a bad start this year.
They did, but I think one thing that we have learned about Virginia Tech is that Frank Beamer was an ultra elite coach. First ballot Hall of Fame coach. Yeah. That is a really difficult job.
They beat Old Dominion. They lost to Purdue, Rutgers, and Marshall, and they were sitting there 1-3.
That's bad.
And I know Virginia. My buddy John's a Virginia Tech guy, and this guy's got to go 1-3. I know it was his second year. 1-3. It's Billy Napier's second year too, and there were people ready to send him out the door too.
Florida is a bit different than Virginia Tech, but yes.
Well, I would imagine Virginia Tech fans of the modern era don't think so. They think we're supposed to be what Frank Beamer had.
But the difference I'm talking about, though, is the money you've got available for buyout. I would imagine.
And I would also ask, if you're Virginia Tech, who can you get?
Yeah. Well, they got a hot coach from Memphis who Brown said he wasn't going to be good.
Thought he was good. No, I thought he was going to be good.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, no. I like Fuente.
So then they got Brent Pry, and he was 1-3. But since then, he's beaten Pitt, lost to Florida State, beat Wake Forest, and now beaten Syracuse. He still hadn't beaten anybody, which, by the way, as we go to these non-divisional setups, you're going to have some of these fluke schedules like Virginia Tech and Louisville where you don't play the toughest schedule, and you still could wiggle your way into these conference championships.
So
games.
Virginia Tech, Louisville becomes big, and the question you just asked me about Virginia Tech potentially, or either one of them potentially playing, the problem for them is North Carolina does not play Virginia Tech or Louisville. So you could have a tie with North Carolina and Virginia Tech, and I do not know how the tiebreaker works.
Me either.
I think it goes down to that. If they don't play head-to-head, I think it eventually goes to that sport analytic thing that basically gives you the team that's got the highest ranking, essentially.
I do think that it does, in the college football playoff ranking or by the sports analytics, depending on how they word it, it would be the highest ranked team. And that would obviously be North Carolina.
Yeah.
But North Carolina still has the potential to lose along the way.
They still got to play Clemson and some other teams.
Huge game this weekend, Duke and Louisville, because Louisville's one loss to Notre Dame, which doesn't count as a conference loss.
Does not.
Duke has 2 losses, but one of those to Notre Dame, so they've only got 1. So winner of this game's in a pretty good spot.
They are.
Especially Louisville.
And Florida State's in a great spot.
Yeah.
So really, we're like playing to see who plays Florida State at this point.
They're leader in the clubhouse right now.
That's what, I was on Chip Brown's show yesterday, and they asked me who's going to be playing Florida State in the ACC championship game. I think most people have already penciled that side in, and I think it is fascinating because there's 4 or 5 teams. Much like in the Big 12, when you start to break that down, we thought it was going to be Oklahoma and Texas for sure. I don't think so now.
Well, Florida State's only got 3 remaining conference games before we get there. At Wake, at Pitt, and Miami. Those are all eminently winnable games. I mean, they're big. They're big favorites in all of them.
Yeah. In fact, if they don't win them all by double digits, we'd all be shocked. Yeah.
Stunned. So and they can afford a loss. By the way, they could drop one of those and still make it to the championship. Yeah. So Florida State's in.
Yeah, and then they got Florida at the end of the year that could impact the college football playoffs, but most of us don't think so. Most of us don't think so. It's Virginia Tech, man. Just unbelievable that they're back to 4-4 now. Dominating win over Syracuse last night. We'll get to all the games coming up Saturday with our Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3 coming up on the other side. The show being brought to you in part today by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. We'll do our look ahead to college football when we come back. You can look ahead to your future with great vision, LT.
Yeah, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. They're going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation, 0 to lose, to find out if LASIK is right for you. 205-969-8100, MichelsonLaserVision.com. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. Call them today. Tell them the next round sent you.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
You could win a Dodge Challenger RT or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You could be a winner too. Come win your share during the Challenger RT and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings October 27th and 28th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
The next round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Football season is here, and Legacy Credit Card is just what you need to manage your spending safely and wisely. Credit cards offer better consumer protection against fraud when compared to a debit card, which is linked directly to your bank account. Legacy offers rates as low as 8.9% APR on credit cards compared to major card providers who advertise rates as high as 29% APR. Look no further than Legacy. Open a credit card online in minutes at legacycreditunion.com/join. APR's annual percentage rate, rates, and offers subject to change. See website for details. Federally insured by NCUA.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Support the show and grab some great t-shirts and hoodies right now in the Next Round store. Buy the Alabama State map shirts in your team's favorite colors, the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest, or Next Round flag shirts are also online now. Just go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store. The traditional Next Round logo shirts are there too. Buy them for yourself, or they make a great gift for someone else. And let us know what you'd like to see in the store coming up. Nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
More football tonight. FAU Charlotte, 6:30 ESPN2. As Brown told me a couple of weeks ago, to that point of the season, I don't know if I'll turn that one on tonight.
Yeah, that's one of those where if this were August, I'd be like, FAU Charlotte, I'll watch some of that, man. I need me some football.
Unless you got a little play on this one.
Well,
the other
will
thing,
you?
Would you guys not assume that when they scheduled this thing out, they're like, we're going head-to-head game 1, World Series?
Yeah, probably so. Game 1 of the World Series. I guess that would have started today regardless of the outcome of the other games.
Yep.
That goes tonight. Game 1 of the World Series, 7 o'clock on Fox, Arizona and Texas. 184 combined wins, which is the fewest regular season wins in a full season of 2 World Series opponents. So 2 teams that in 2011, Texas wouldn't have made it. And as late as 2019, Arizona wouldn't have made it. So enjoy the World Series, everybody. That starts tonight, Game 1. I assume a play coming up later at lanceslock.com. The show being brought to you by our friends at Maestro Dobel Diamante Tequila, made with 100% pure agave. The aging process that they use with this is where it's all at, right? By the way, they use wood barrels from the Balkan region of Eastern Europe. What you get is a crystal clear, crisp tequila that is second to none. Maestro Dobel Diamante Tequila. Ask for it by name. It is robust and it is perfect. You'll love it right there. Rockstar, it is time for our pick 3. You can go to nextroundlive.com. Well, Lunsford, would you say we're averaging about 50 winners a week, even this late in the season? On average, one time we went over 100, but about 50 winners a week that get a ball in the bucket. The way you do it, you go to nextroundlive.com. You look for the Buffalo Wild Wings logo. You click on it. You pick your play. It's easy to do. I did it last week. I think it was a cool 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is not good. 2 and 1's good. Still doesn't get a ball in the bucket. 3 and 0 is how you get into the drawing for the great prize at the end of the year with our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings. Nextroundlive.com. Go there and play now. Rockstar.
Pick 3, it's time for the pick 3. 3 for you and 3 for me, that equals a pick 3. Say goodbye to your family, it's time for the pick 3. Only time that I'm happy is when it's time for pick 3.
Hey, 11 Central Alabama locations, including that new Buffalo Wild Wings Go location in Vestavia. They've been the #1 sports bar in Birmingham for over 20 years now. Wall-to-wall TVs, 26 sauces and seasonings, along with a full menu of great burgers, wraps, and salads. Get in this weekend. See our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Throw some point spreads out, Brownie, if you get them from mybookie.ag.
You got it, buddy.
Krusty, by the way, Krusty 1001, 3 balls in the bucket for me. So 3 times he's gone 3 and 0 this year. More balls in the bucket. Better chance for you to win. I have not gone 3 and 0 yet this year.
I only got the 1 ball. 3 is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think I've only got 1. Yeah, 3 is really
That's
impressive.
really good, Krusty. 3 times at 3 and 0 there. So see if you can pick a winner there of all the Power 5 games and go 3 and 0 and get in there. Brownie, let's start with Arizona and Oregon State in this contest. I find this one interesting, LT, because Arizona hasn't had a winning record since 2017, and they're playing great football with their backup quarterback. I assume they still consider him the backup quarterback, but Noah, how you say his last name, Fafita?
Yeah, Fafita. If Jaden DeLaura was healthy, Jaden DeLaura would be your starting quarterback. This could be a situation, though. Jed Fish is loving this play, and you know, when he comes back and when he is healthy, you do wonder if both of these guys will get playing time. This is an interesting number that it's down to 3.5 because Oregon State still a really good football team.
Yeah, 9:30 ESPN down to 3.5 at mybookie.ag. LT says.
Might
I
have
got it
something
at 3 right now at mybookie.ag, so you can get an extra half.
Might have something on this game a little bit later in the show. By the way,
me too. Me too.
Interesting.
I love Arizona in this game. I don't know what LT is saying later on. A lot of Oregon State fans out there, but this Arizona team has been so good. They're 4-3, and they've only allowed 5 passing touchdowns in those battles against Michael Penix Jr., Caleb Williams, and Cam Ward. They played those 3 quarterbacks and allowed just 5 passing
Pretty impressive.
touchdowns.
yeah. Here's what I would say though. You know, the one loss that Oregon State had, if they played that game again against Washington State, I think they win that game. So Oregon State's still playing for a ton out there.
Oh, yeah, still playing technically for a playoff spot.
Yeah, and you know, the last time we saw Oregon State out, they probably had their best game where they put 36 on UCLA.
Yeah, so that's one of the games coming up this weekend. Another one of interest to a lot of people, of course, will be Georgia and Florida. And, Brownie, I don't know about you, but the world's largest outdoor cocktail party oftentimes disappoints for me.
Yeah. I just like, if I tell you, man, give me the greatest cocktail party moments, I think of Lindsey Scott. Oh, that was 1980.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, give me another one.
What about the tacky move from Mark Richt where everybody went on the
That's the other one I
That's
remember.
where I would go second.
Yes, that's
but
the
I
other
don't
one
think it was a close game, was it?
No. Hey, we talked about this last night. It always seems like there's a cloud in Jacksonville.
Like it's
the
dark.
weather's not good. There's no offense, and somebody wins the game by 14. It's never a good game. And how about this? Florida against #1 teams. All time they've played 18 games. What do you guys think the record is?
Wow, Florida's only played 18 games against #1. Maybe that's a lot. I don't know.
Well, I would say Florida against #1 team, 6-12 out of 18.
That would be, what is that, 33% of those are wins?
I mean, it's hard to beat number one teams, right?
It's
I mean,
very
you're
hard.
obviously going to be an underdog.
But there were some good Florida teams
Yeah.
under Spurrier that were playing against a number one team. 6-12 is going to be my
See,
call.
I would think Steve Spurrier was the number one team a lot, so I don't know how many times they played number one. I'm going to say they're going to be worse than that. A lot of this is going to be back when Alabama was number one and Florida sucked. I'm going to say they were three wins.
3-15, you're dead on.
Not great.
So they haven't had a lot of success in this spot. I don't think they've got really any shot to win this game. I know this first game without Brock Bowers. Georgia's won 24 consecutive games. We still sleep on Carson Beck. 7 career starts, 7 250-plus passing yard games. I think Georgia the much better team. I think it will be a factor down the stretch with Brock Bowers. I don't think it's a factor here. I like Georgia to roll.
Yeah, Georgia, 14.5-point favorite this morning at mybookie.ag. Lance said most of those games are favored by 14. Las Vegas is telling you that will be the case again this week, they think.
5-2 Florida, though, 3-1 in the SEC, so still a lot to play for them. A win here, and they're sort of in the driver's seat, right?
Billy Napier's,
they're in the mix for Atlanta.
Well, they're still alive for Atlanta because their loss is Kentucky,
right?
Who's got some difficult games left. Obviously, they've lost to Georgia. They've still got to play Alabama. They've still got to play Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee and Alabama.
I mean, if you're
next 2
Florida,
weeks.
if you find a way to win this one, you got to feel pretty good about getting to Atlanta.
I mean, who have they beaten, though?
Nobody.
Oh, nobody.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, they get so excited about beating South Carolina in a game that they were down. And Billy Napier, let's not forget, away from the swamp in 2 years, he's 2-7.
2-7, dude. Does that count Jacksonville?
Yeah,
that's away from the swamp. Yeah,
yeah.
so you're giving me some bad Florida stats there. They never beat number one teams, and Billy Napier never wins on the road.
He doesn't.
All right.
Could very easily be a blowout, right?
Give me the Bulldogs.
I think it will be a blowout.
Yeah. By the way, it's the first time they play without Brock Bowers in 3 years.
That's wild to think how is. I mean, a tight end takes a pretty physical beating, wouldn't you say?
He does. He does. And I also would tell you that you go back to the national championship before they won the national championships at Georgia. Brock Bowers has been on both of them, and now is on this team trying for the three-peat. We give a lot of credit to the mailman, Stetson Bennett. Brock Bowers has been a threat. He's been a weapon on all of those.
Yeah. Do you guys think we'll ever see Brock Bowers again in a Georgia uniform? I think it's a legitimate question.
It is a legitimate question. I hate it if we don't, but I mean, I think he's even worst case. If the tightrope is what he had, and if it's not worse than what was initially reported, he's back for the playoffs.
Yeah,
and I think they'll be in the playoffs.
In my opinion, Brock Bowers will play a college football game after Caleb Williams does.
Ooh, wow.
Okay. Well, let me pull this back. Caleb Williams ain't playing into January.
That's right.
Yeah,
you're
they're not
saying
going to a
Williams
college
will skip
football
the bowl.
playoff. He's
Yeah.
going to skip the bowl. If Georgia misses college football playoff, we won't see Brock again.
I think Brock Bowers will be back for the SEC championship.
Oh, if he misses the college football playoff, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
But I just don't know that Georgia's going to miss the playoff at this point.
I don't know if he's going to be ready. I think that would be the earliest.
For the SEC championship game?
That'd be the very end of the 4 to 6 week window. Very end.
That would be this end
I think
of the
that would-
6 week.
I heard that it was a little worse.
Well, and
than
that's the
people
thing.
reported.
When I say 4 to 6, that's the normal tightrope, high ankle sprain injury recovery. If
That's
it's
why I'm going
worst
the
case,
back end.
Yeah.
More of the pick 3 coming up after LT tells us about our friends at Hemp Hill, who also present you LancesLock.com.
Yeah, Hemp Hill Services, the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for plumbing, heating, and cooling. Right now, for October, you got a few days left, 0% for 60 months for qualified customers, plus free Wi-Fi upgrade, 10-year labor on any system replacement, and that $69 fall tune-up. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
What about that Duke game you mentioned, LT? What do you think of that as we do our Buffalo Wild Wings pick 3? Jump on there, nextroundlive.com, nextroundlive.com to play the games. What do you think of Duke?
I know Duke is not ranked a lot, but the last time they won a ranked versus ranked, which you get right here with number 20 Duke against number 18 Louisville, was all the way back in 1994. Louisville's 3-0 all-time versus Duke. I thought it was more scheduled. I think Louisville's pretty good. I think without Riley Leonard, Louisville wins this game. With Riley Leonard to 100%, Duke wins the game.
Yeah, 4.5 points is what Louisville is underdog here. How many times are you going to get Duke?
You mean favored? Louisville favored 4.5.
Duke is the underdog, 4.5.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, how many times are you going to get Duke on the road against a ranked team only laying 4.5? I mean, that's a testament to what Elko has done with his Duke team. I mean, think about that.
Louisville coming off a bye week, back at home where they played their best game of the year and beating Notre Dame. And when you drop off from Riley Leonard to Henry, is it Beeline? Is that how you say his last name? Henry Beeline. Boy, that's a big drop-off when you watch him come in and play and the way they look offensively compared to Riley Leonard. that's a bigger QB1, QB2 drop-off than you get in most places in college football. He has not looked comfortable running the offense.
And I don't know if Riley Leonard's going to be 100% the remainder of the season. It's something to look out for. I heard there is a possibility there could be some local schools sniffing around Riley Leonard.
Like somebody that would need a quarterback really badly? Or somebody that has a quarterback that plays pretty well, but they got a good freshman they're excited about.
Yeah, let's just say this. Riley Leonard is from the state of Alabama.
Oh, he is.
He is.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it can't be Alabama because they have Julian Sayin coming in. They've already got a ton of 4 and 5 stars over
If you've learned nothing from Lane Kiffin, it's that you can't have too many quarterbacks.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. All of these guys are 4 and 5 stars that are on Alabama's roster, and this quarterback thing hasn't worked out to where it was working out before. I mean, Jalen hadn't been bad at all, but Riley Leonard, to me, is a proven product.
So you would take Riley Leonard over Jalen Milroe right now?
1,000%.
Okay, you would take Riley Leonard over Julian Sayin?
I've never seen
I've
the
never
kid play.
seen Sayin play. So, yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I've never seen him play.
So you're saying it's Alabama. You think it is?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it could be a local school. I've heard that there are some people that are taking a look at this guy.
Could be UAB, Jim. You know,
Yeah, could be Trent Dilfer, man.
He did well with Jacob Zeno transfer.
Now, if you tell me it's Auburn, I don't know what their future looks like, right?
Well,
At quarterback.
I could promise you Riley Leonard starts in front of either Auburn quarterback. Yeah, we can argue about Milroe if you want.
You can argue about Milroe,
Yes.
but you can't argue the other.
Yeah. All right. Another interesting game. Have we done Tennessee, Kentucky?
We
yet?
have not done Tennessee,
Kentucky, Kroger Field, and this game I think defines the season for both of these teams. Okay, because if you lose this one, Kentucky still has more losable games, but I don't think Kentucky thought they would be in this spot at this point in the year with another loss. And boy, if Tennessee loses it, sort of back to middle of the pack is where they're headed.
Yeah, they ain't equal with Alabama, as Clay Travis said, if they lose this game. And this is, I think we talked about this last night, one of the more difficult games, at least in my opinion, to handicap this weekend. Teams coming off losses or games against Alabama, they just haven't played well this year. And they've been really beat up. And you think about emotionally where Tennessee will be coming off that game where they had Alabama dead to rights at halftime and played an awful 30 minutes. I give Alabama credit. Alabama probably played their best 30 minutes. But Tennessee, I just don't know where they are. I mean, everything fell apart in the second half. Their season fell apart.
And Tennessee's owned this rivalry historically. Kentucky has really struggled to find ways to beat Tennessee. And Tennessee is a road favorite in this one. 3.5 point
who's never
favorite.
played in this rivalry? Devin Leary.
Yeah. In this game, they look a lot alike offensively, don't they? And they both haven't been great.
I mean, it's all about running the football.
Milton has been better in his better times than Leary has.
Yes.
But not Leary at NC State.
Right.
These
Well,
uniforms.
Leary at Kentucky, yes.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Something tells me Tennessee wins this game, which means you should bet Kentucky because I'm on a landmine streak right now.
This is, it's a tough game.
Tough game to call.
Kentucky's won this game 3 times, Jim, since 1984. When I say Tennessee, and they play every year, by the way, when I say Tennessee has dominated this game, 3 Kentucky wins since 1984. That is a long time.
I got to be honest, I haven't been to Kroger Field since, I think, 2004, 2005.
Back when it was Commonwealth?
If this is worth anything, they're 4-1 at home this year. Tennessee 0-2 away from Knoxville.
In fact, I told you yesterday, 15-5 since 2021, Kentucky. They were 6-1 2 years ago in a little home field advantage there for Big Blue in that contest. More of the games we'll get to later and throughout the show. You can go play them anytime up to kickoff tomorrow, though. NextRoundLive.com, NextRoundLive.com. Brought to you by our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings, all those great locations, LT.
Yeah, make sure you stop in today to one of the fantastic locations of Buffalo Wild Wings, 11 Central Alabama locations, including that Buffalo Wild Wings Go location in Vestavia, wall-to-wall TVs, all locations, 26 sauces and seasonings, along with a full menu of great burgers, wraps, and salads. It's our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, 2 things before we take our next breaks. 4 downs coming up in the next segment. Later on, Rockstar's Playhouse. After we talk to Ferman at the top of the hour, we got our Monday's headlines today, all coming up on the show. But 2 things first. Before we talk about LT and something he did yesterday that you guys may be noticing, I want to. Forrester brought this to me, and these are high school kids. So we're not going to make fun of them as we show you this unbelievable season.
You see what he's doing there?
Dad.
Okay, Dad.
All
Okay.
right.
If I want to make fun of them, I will, okay?
Yeah.
Now that you tell me, don't walk in that room. Don't open that box.
Huffman High School finished the season last night. and this is their season. Their closest game was the opener against Minor back in August, 40-0. They become the first high school football team in the state of Alabama since 1965 not to score a point this season.
And I think I read last night that was a 9-game schedule. I think this is the first 10-game schedule ever to do it in Alabama.
Yeah, they might want to hire Goldie Hawn.
I mean, my word.
Gary Lloyd, as Brown is pointing out, per Alabama high school football, the last team to lose all their games by shutouts was Notasulga in 1965 when it was outscored 329-0 in a 9-game 0-9 season.
I feel awful for those kids. I really, really do. I mean, that is so sad. But you know what? I was reading last night. They're playing Parker last night, who I think Lunsford or Scott can confirm. I think they won their region, right? Parker's really good. And I was reading last night because I knew this was in play. And somebody that was covering the game, and it might have been Gary or someone else, was like, that team was still on the sideline cheering on their kids on the field, and he said, by my eye, they were still playing hard at the end of that game. And that speaks highly of the character of those kids.
They were in our region way back in the day. They used to be a power.
Yeah.
I mean, what has happened to Huffman?
Yeah, they used to be a powerhouse. As Goose points out, yes, they are using the Brian Ferentz playbook there at Huffman. But hey, as Brown says, they continued a tradition by fielding a team and got out there and tried every week. So hats off to them. LT went and saw Dr. B yesterday, and you may notice as you watch the broadcast today, a couple little treatments as well.
I've got some spots, and they're getting darker and darker. So I had to address this. I've got sunspots the last year and a half, 2 years, so I wanted to get this taken care of. So I went in and got that Sensus transdermal infuser. And it was a really cool procedure. This enables Dr. B to get various medicines and therapies into the scalp, the hair follicles are, without using any injections. Basically puts the fluid on. You can kind of feel this. And the instrument they use, it immediately pushes the fluids into the scalp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so while he was doing that, we were talking about these sunspots, for lack of a better word, and he sprayed, it was basically freezing them. You could feel kind of the coolness. And now they're going to scalp up and they'll or scab up, and then they'll peel off in the next 5 to 7 days. So these will get darker. It's going to look really strange that I've got like black spots on my face.
We did not punch Lance.
But then they will fall off.
And then they'll fall off. One of the many treatments you get from our buddy Dr. B right there. And you can go by and see him. Dr. B, LT started a long time ago with a treatment for his hair there. You see the video there.
Good dude, man. He talked about you kind of give him a sneak attack in Tuscaloosa this past week.
I tried to jump on his back, and then I was like, I'm a little heavier than him. I probably shouldn't jump on his back.
Idea, yeah.
So I just gave him a behind hug, which is never good in a crowd.
Did you guys ever do the I used to do this when I was a young and spry. You see somebody you know, and you run up and you push over their shoulders and leapfrog them?
Yeah, I've done that.
Yep, I've done that.
You should have done that too, Dr. B.
A much athletic day. His daughter and his wife were there, so it was really good seeing Dr. B there. I always appreciate the things he does for LT. When we come back, we'll do our 4 downs and a lot more. Stay with us on TNR.
The Burnout with the SEC Network's Peter Burns and Ryan Brown weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes of golf and cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. That's a value of $247 for just $89. Or get the Next Round Deluxe Golf Cart for just $119. It gets you all 4 courses with cart, plus an exclusive Next Round Golf t-shirt, koozie, golf tees, and a sticker. There are no restrictions. The cart is good through September 2024. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store. Do you need extra cash handy? Look no further than Legacy Credit Union for whatever loan your lifestyle requires. It only takes a few minutes to apply and request the amount you need to give you peace of mind. With affordable low rates and manageable payback plans, a Legacy Lifestyle loan is crafted just for you. Apply online today at legacycreditunion.com. legacy.com/join. Lifestyle loans from Legacy. Terms and conditions may apply. Legacy is federally insured by the NCUA.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
It's college football time in Alabama. This is Congressman Robert Adderholt. I grew up an Alabama fan, Roll Tide, but my wife, Caroline, grew up an Auburn fan, War Eagle. But no matter who you pull for, whether it's the Lions of the University of North Alabama or the Gamecocks of Jacksonville State or any other school in between, I want to wish all the players, the coaches, and especially the fans another great college football season here in Alabama. I'm Robert Adderholt, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Adderholt for Congress.
No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, we have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails. And don't forget about that 29-degree man-sized drafts. It's Twin Peaks at the Patton Creek Shopping Centers.
The Next Round store is live and loaded. Check out the latest logo t-shirts and hoodies. Get your favorite team colors, the Next Round flag shirt, or grab the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest t-shirts. Go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Our friends at Woodhouse bringing us part of the show. Little T was by there the other day
She
as well.
did.
Yeah.
She said she had to duck out for a little full body massage. She was like, nothing like a Tuesday afternoon in a robe, drinking a mimosa middle of the day and getting a massage from our friends at Woodhouse. Tell you, they are the best in the business. There's a reason Woodhouse Day Spa voted America's best day spa since 2009. 70 different options on that menu, including the massages, the body treatments, skincare, waxing, nail services. For more information and to order gift cards online, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, or just stop in, go see Stuart, Casey, and the fine folks located conveniently at the Summit Shopping Centers.
By the way, it's next Tuesday, right? Halloween?
That is.
That is correct.
Next Tuesday, we'll do our annual show. Forrester, can you show me Brian Harsin? Because it was about 1 year ago. It was 1 year ago on Halloween, where on our show, in costume, we fired Brian Harsin.
That is correct.
While in costume.
Yep.
This is Brian Harsin this year, spending Auburn's money, going to a Halloween costume, dressed as the Joker. He is the guy on the right.
That's fitting.
His wife, is on the left there. What's her character? She's the crazy
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn. Thank you.
I've never seen his wife before. That's a good look for her, though.
Wow.
Yeah, and Brian cut up there. He's doing a little gym work. Does he get back in coaching?
I'm sure he does. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what is.
I don't know. He seems to be having a good time.
Yeah, I mean,
you mean Avalos?
Yeah,
are you going to go Brandon?
Yeah,
Avalos
I was going
from Boise. Yeah.
Andy Avalos. Andy Avalos.
Well, Brandon, I think, is his offensive.
You think so?
Analyst.
I mean, what's his future? Because Boise ain't great under him. And I don't know if you'd go back to
Boise
Harsin.
was a lot better under Harsin than they are Avalos.
There's no doubt about that. And
But
they were
I
better
don't-
under Peterson than under Harsin. But Peterson ain't coming back.
Yeah, I don't think I would go back to Harsin.
Yeah, I think I would look elsewhere if I were them as well.
I think he's got enough friends in the business where if he wants to come back, he will.
Does he? I mean, how much money did he get?
Harsin?
Enough.
A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good payday.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was close to $10 million, wasn't it?
I think it's more than that.
He could have hired actors to play Joker and Harley Quinn if he wanted to. Y'all just go to this party as us. Thank you very much. Let's do our 4 downs today. It's brought to you by our friends at Slice. Slice Pizza, great locations all over the state. And eventually is a new one coming to Homewood right there on that strip?
Yeah.
Where we were last night?
It's going to be a power strip.
It is.
It's a place to hang out.
The power strip.
The Bajalia Brothers, though, great concept created by the late Jeff. His brothers continue that legacy, Jason and Chris. Get in and see him one of those 4 locations, the original in Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park. Now, for more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
By the way, $15.3 million from the chat room, including Lunsford over there on the Harsin buyout. That's how much cash he has right now.
I wouldn't get back in it.
I'd love to have the $15.3 million. I'd live on a ranch in Montana.
Like Buster?
Be neighbors with Buster Olney.
I saw him doing a hit today, and he was like in the hallway of his.
Yeah.
He looks like he's got a nice pad in Bozeman.
Yeah, I think he probably does. He's got some land up there. I know that.
On first down, closer game this weekend. Oklahoma at Kansas or BYU in Austin to play Texas with a backup quarterback.
So I saw somebody in the chat room, and I haven't heard this. Nothing's been confirmed, and I don't know if you guys have, but I was talking to Chip yesterday about Malik Murphy, and he didn't say anything about it. But somebody in the chat room said Malik Murphy's having back problems. Again, this was just in the Vulcan Tire and Automotive chat room. I've got no confirmation on this, and that we would see a lot of Arch Manning tomorrow. If Arch Manning, if he was to play that entire game, I think BYU's got a shot at winning.
And there was debate in the chat room, do you burn Arch Manning's red shirt because he hasn't played? And I'm like, absolutely, you risk burning his red shirt. Now, you have to play 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, one game doesn't do it.
You absolutely risk it because you're in the national championship hunt. You don't take a loss to save a red shirt. So I would be interested if that's the case. I'm going to say the better game is Kansas-Oklahoma.
I got a feeling Oklahoma's going to light Kansas up. I think Texas is going to light BYU. I don't think either one of them.
You asked the question.
Yeah.
I would lean Kansas. I think if BYU's in this game, they're going to win the game for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm going to say BYU and Texas is closer, but Oklahoma wins by 38 and Texas wins by 35. Neither one of them are very close.
But BYU, watch this, is a nocturnal team. When they play at night this year, they win. When they play during the day, they don't play well.
Second down.
Let's see if I read my writing here. More likely to win this weekend, to pull the upset, only 2 ranked games. Number 13 Utah hosting number 8 Oregon, or number 20 Duke at number 18 Louisville. More likely to win. Win the game outright.
I mean, to me, they're both coin
Yeah.
flip games. I'm going to go Utah just based on the fact that they're 26-2 their last 28 in Rice-Eccles.
Yeah, I would go Utah as well. Tough place to play. Bo Nix has not had that bad game. I'm not like Lance 100% saying it will be tomorrow, but he has not had that bad game, and every quarterback has a bad game at some point.
Can you make the case this is the toughest defense that Bo Nix will face in the regular season this year?
Do they play UCLA?
It's the toughest defense he's seen since Georgia back at home.
Yeah. I mean, you can make that case, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's on the road. It's a tough situation.
Third down.
More points scored this weekend. UCLA or USC. UCLA hosting Colorado at the Rose Bowl. USC on the road in Berkeley. Who scores more points, UCLA or USC?
USC's offense is in a little bit of a funk. I think it's UCLA.
Yeah.
Chip Kelly probably has his best defense that he's had at UCLA, and this offense is still a work in progress with a true freshman quarterback, but he seems to have one of these 50-spot games, and it will be this weekend.
And was it confirmed yesterday that Ethan Garber's? I think I saw it was confirmed.
Going to start?
Ethan Garber's going to start.
I mean, I think UCLA's playing against the worst defense. Cal's defense, I probably overstated it yesterday. They're not been as good of late, but they're a better defense than Colorado. So, and I agree, USC's in a little bit of a funk here. So I'll go UCLA score more points.
Fourth down.
And finally, this weekend, largest margin of victory. Washington versus Stanford, or Penn State versus Indiana? Tough question.
Yeah.
I'll repeat it, in fact, while you think. Washington over Stanford or Penn State over Indiana, largest margin.
I think it's going to be Penn State, Lance, and here's why. I think James Franklin is going to do the old, if I score 50, it'll lessen the blow of last week. And Washington's not necessarily in that situation because they didn't lose.
Pretty amazing. Penn State's held 14 consecutive non-ranked teams to 17 or less points. First time any FBS school's done that since Bama back in 2011 to 2013. So I could see them try to make up a statement, but they were so bad last week against Ohio State, and I wonder where they are mentally. On the other side, Washington was bad in a loss. You're trying to get Penix back up there to win a Heisman. I'm going to go Washington.
Yeah, Washington was bad in a win.
In a win, yeah.
In a win, yeah.
Yeah, so now trying to get him back, the feet under him before he gets some more tougher games. Stanford's defense has been horrible lately.
It has.
Since they won that, they pulled the one upset. Who'd they beat?
It was Colorado.
They beat Colorado.
But they were terrible in the first. They were down 29-0 at half.
Yeah, and then they come back and won the game. But since then, they've been beaten like 42-7 by everybody.
Yeah, they're not good. I mean, that Colorado thing is by far and away the outlier.
Yeah, I'm going to go Washington, but close. Penn State will be able to run the ball and beat Indiana.
Yeah.
Both those games will be blowouts. That's 4 downs. Brought to you by our great friends at Slice.
Yeah, local pizza, local ingredients. Get into one of those 4 locations this weekend. Make sure you tell the Bajalia brothers the Next Round sent you.
All right. And our friends at Moore's getting you ready for the weekend. We'll talk to Todd Ferman in Vegas when we come back. Tell us about Moore's Marinade.
Well, you can be the hero this weekend with Moore's Marinade on that grill. Listen, one of the things that I don't like in my marinade is a ton of sodium, that salty taste. You don't have that with Moore's. In fact, lower sodium than the leading lower sodium marinade. And you don't sacrifice any flavor because it's still got that amazing hickory flavor, anything you're putting on the grill. Burgers, chicken, steak, pork, veggies, it all works with Moore's. And don't forget their wing sauces, their buffalo wing sauce and that honey barbecue wing sauce. I love that, man. Perfectly tangy flavor, keeps you licking your fingers even after the wings are gone. You can dip, you can drizzle, you can slather Moore's buffalo wing sauce on everything you eat, from chicken fingers to burgers, sandwiches, pizza, pasta, tacos, fries, and more. See why Grill Masters prefer Moore's Marinades and wing sauces by visiting mooresmarinades.com for recipe ideas and grilling inspiration. That's mooresmarinades.com.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
Red Wing Shoes is pleased to announce the ultimate fit and comfort savings event during the month of October. Mention the Next Round and receive a special discount of up to $30 off. Visit your local Red Wing Shoe store in Pelham or Trussville to have your feet electronically measured. A certified fit specialist will then recommend the proper footwear and orthotic to ensure you receive a comfortable pair of boots or shoes. So be prepared as the fall weather begins to change. Enjoy a pair of classic Red Wing Pecos pull-ons, Heritage Iron Rangers, or Vask hiking boots from Red Wing.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations, but we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, brombergs.com.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the Live Daily Show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light. is on now.
Man, we're about to talk to our man Todd Ferman. I'm sure he's sitting around with pencil and pad waiting to hear my Alabama Power Play of the Weekend, my Power Play of the Weekend. If you want to control everything with your electricity bill, including how much electricity you're using, payments for your account, maybe when during storms there's an outage, when you may be getting your electricity back, you can download the Alabama Power app in your Apple or Android store. All you have to do is simply search Alabama Power there in the App Store, or you can just go directly to alabamapower.com/mobile app to download today. alabamapower.com/mobile app to download it today.
All right, Todd Ferman, bettheboardpodcast.com, and at Todd Ferman on Twitter with us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Ferman, what is up? How are things in Vegas?
Everything is good, gentlemen. We got a little matinee hockey game for Nevada Day out here for state inception, so it's always fun when you get a 3 o'clock puck drop to lead into a busy weekend of the NFL and college football.
Nevada Day sneaks up on me every year.
It does.
What can I say? I figure it's a mandatory day off from an administrative holiday standpoint for all the public schools down there in Alabama that you guys want to pay proper respects to us out here in the desert.
I was going to go as Wayne Newton this year, but I left my costume at home.
Hey, I respect that. I mean, I feel like the three of you guys could go as Siegfried and Roy. It's just a question of who ultimately wants to dress as a white Bengal tiger for the next Halloween.
Hey, do you
I want to be Roy.
It's been strange. I describe BYU as a nocturnal team. They play well at night. They play not very good during the day. But now you're going against a backup quarterback in Malik Murphy. I really haven't seen much Malik Murphy. I hear the guy's going to be a complete stud. But do you have a problem laying 19.5 points with a backup quarterback?
You know what? I really don't actually in this spot. It would be Texas or pass for me. It's not a game that I've gotten involved with just yet. You mentioned the change from Quinn Ewers to Malik Murphy. The betting market really hasn't responded as such. And, going back and watching some of Malik Murphy's throws in spring practice, he's a little bit more of a polished deep thrower than Quinn Ewers. He's not going to make the same intermediate throws, but I think this offense can take on a boomer bust type look. It would be more a play against BYU in this particular spot. You mentioned them being nocturnal. And this is a team in Provo that's been a very difficult out. It can be one of the trickier places to play as Big 12 teams are quickly finding out. But there isn't a whole lot to be excited about offensively. Keaton Slovis is limited in the passing game. BYU not super athletic in the back. And while I know BYU sits at 5-2, this may be a team that fights tooth and nail just to get bowl eligible. And I think this is actually a little bit of a buy low on Texas, given how they let an inferior Houston team hang around last weekend.
Furman, Auburn is a 6.5-point favorite at home over Mississippi State, but I want to ask about the total because I think a lot of people will look at this game and say, how do these two teams combine for 41 points with the defenses and the offenses involved here?
It's a great question, and I'm not sure I want to give a ton of credit to either defense. It's more about the offensive shortcomings for both of these sides. And we saw that on full display last week for Mississippi State. I mean, barely more than 200 yards in their win against Arkansas. Now, credit to the Bulldogs. They did go into Fayetteville, win that game outright as 6.5-point dogs, and cost Dan Enos his job as offensive coordinator. But you look at these two teams, and both want to be run heavy. It's a contest where I think the clock continues to churn from start to finish. But at 41, there's not a ton of wiggle room to try and navigate through. The one thing we've seen from Mississippi State, they started this year as a run-heavy team. They tried to tinker with a little bit of that air raid. Didn't pay much in the way of dividends other than that 487-yard outburst against South Carolina, which, as we've come to find out, everybody can throw the football against that Gamecocks defense. So no problem with people who want to make a slight case for the under. I needed 43.5, 44 to go under, and the market was only there for a fleeting moment. So maybe first half if you think these two teams start off with a sluggish pace and tempo, but I would also lean towards Auburn laying the 6.5. I think they should be able to run the football.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming on college football odds with Todd Ferman for this special announcement. What the hell happened last night at the end of the Tampa Bay Buccaneer game? We started the show with it. Let's say your friend, we'll call him Jim, who lives in Birmingham, who's a Buccaneer fan, but hedged his emotions by laying 9.5 in that game. And then Tampa goes on a 17-play drive with 2 fourth-down penalties keeping them alive, and then a fourth-down off-the-helmet touchdown pass. Is that a bad beat? Does that go into that category as a bad beat?
I mean, you created what we like to call in the business a Polish middle for yourself. So as a Bucs fan, you don't get the outright win. You don't get the cover for Buffalo. So you come out losing not once but twice. So well done, Mr. Dunaway, for the way you elected to handle it. But I think what we saw last night was more a reflection of a defensive-minded head coach in Sean McDermott, who quite frankly played scared. I mean, up 24-10, you have multiple fourth downs in plus territory. Tampa hadn't really shown an ability to get off the field on fourth down other than the goal line stand early in the game. And rather than looking to try and land the knockout punch, which would have helped Buffalo's win probability and also people that were backing the Bills, he punts, pins, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just can't get out of the shadow of their own end zone for the most part. But then you get the marathon march where there was absolutely no sense of urgency from Todd Bowles. And it reminded me a couple of years ago when Mark Stoops could care less about winning. I believe the game was against Georgia. Just figured the hell with it. I'm going to go on an 11-minute drive and try and do everything I can to cover the number. But to Todd Bowles' credit, defense made a stop, and if Chris Godwin's able to locate that ball, it becomes one of the more improbable outright wins. But this is why you have to play to win games in the NFL, and when you have an opportunity to create margin and separation, you need to take full advantage because how quickly things can change. And I actually had hoped that the Bucs came back to upset Buffalo just to make Sean McDermott pay for being so conservative the final 25 minutes of the game.
Yeah, it is amazing they didn't score the final 25 minutes. But on that final drive, I don't know what you thought about this, and I was on the Bills, full disclosure. But on the 4th and 8, Baker Mayfield is wrapped up in the pocket for what seemed like a full minute. They let him try to leg it out, and then they call a face mask. I mean, that is in the grasp 99 out of 100 times.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, there's no reason to get your hands up around the quarterback's head. I think if you're looking at the 2 fourth-down penalty calls, that was a little bit more by the book than the illegal contact that extended the drive the first time around. At the same time, for people, and I'm not saying ULT by any stretch, that want to claim the officials did this, that, or the other, look, the biggest momentum play of that entire drive was the deep ball to Mike Evans. The officials made the right call. It was holding, basically watching a Buffalo Bills defensive lineman get mauled. So that's the kind of thing that you open yourself up to, whether it's the officiating or anything else, if you don't go out there and really try and create some of that separation. And again, I think that's what's going to hold this Bills team back. If Sean McDermott believes they can win games and make a deep run in the playoffs with a banged-up defense rather than leading on an offense that showed that it has big play potential when you get Khalil Shakir involved, when you see what Dalton Kincaid provides for the offense, this is why I just can't buy into Buffalo as a legitimate AFC contender.
Todd Ferman is with us, bettheboardpodcast.com for all the games, bettheboardpodcast.com, recommended listening from us, and you can follow him on Twitter at Todd Ferman. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. We put a lot of stock in Brock Bowers not playing for Georgia. We all think Georgia's still going to win this game. What kind of stock does Vegas put in it? Georgia favored 14.5 this morning.
Talked to Brad Powers a little bit on the Bet the Board podcast on Wednesday and wanted to get his assessment because when you look at college football, I mean, we talk about skill position players for the most part being a dime a dozen, a half point here, a full point there. He said that Brock Bowers is the biggest adjustment that he's had to make for a tight end for as long as he's been doing this. Wow. So he downgraded Georgia a full 1.5. And you can understand why. When you watch this Georgia offense and Carson Beck gets himself into a little bit of trouble, he knows that Bowers provides a security blanket to pick up those tough yards on third and intermediate. Now you go into a neutral territory where we know the stadium will be electric for Florida and Georgia, and you wonder what this Georgia passing attack will look like. Interesting nugget here that the last 10 Georgia quarterbacks that have made their first start in this rivalry, not first start overall, but the first time they start against Florida, only Jake Fromm won his debut. So 1-9 the record of those quarterbacks. Now, granted, the number was a hell of a lot closer than a team being a 2-touchdown plus favorite in those matchups, but it just speaks to some of the expectations that are there. I think Georgia fans should be optimistic, though, that they were able to run the football, at least build some confidence against the much-maligned Vanderbilt run defense. I think Florida offensively is going to show a lot better than what we've seen in the past. Let's see what Graham Mertz can do with that short-controlled passing game, and I fully understand why this total has been bet up from where it bottomed out at 46.5 to a point where we're in that 48-49 range. And at 14.5, I would lean ever so slightly towards Florida, but not a game I'm looking to get involved with before kickoff.
I know you'll be up at 9 a.m. Central for my play of the week, all right? Minutemen and Black Knights, 9 a.m. Vegas time, I believe, on the CBS Sports Network, 11 o'clock Central. I like UMass in the points, man. Tell me this is not the best play on the board. UMass plus the 10.
We're asking Ferman about UMass.
This may be a first, gentlemen. I love our service academies, but in all the time we've been doing radio, I don't think you guys have ever asked me about UMass football in any capacity.
I can't figure out why we are now.
Kudos to Dunaway. He wants to make sure that my CBS Sports executives feel thrilled with the kind of content and analysis that I'm providing on these local radio stations throughout the season. I actually went over the total in this game at 48. I think there's a path for both of these offenses to have some success. I know the total's out to 50.5. I still think there's a little bit of wiggle room here until you get to 51. When you look at this Army side, there is no doubt it's been a difficult transition for them, trying to be a little bit more pass-happy, relatively speaking. UMass, though, they've taken a massive step down defensively when you look at Don Brown trying to get more aggressive despite the revolving door at quarterback. I would lean towards UMass right there with you, but I do think we could see some points and maybe a little bit more in the way of fireworks in West Point Saturday for that early kickoff than what we've grown accustomed to.
And don't be afraid to play the minute on the money line. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
Hey, I have got a Clear Vision Sunday. Live dog in Arlington with the Rams plus 215 on the money line.
It's an interesting game. We know it's a homecoming of sorts for Matthew Stafford. He loves these opportunities to come back as a Highland Park High School kid there. The Rams, from an offensive standpoint, should be able to exploit some of what Dallas doesn't do in the secondary, especially with the healthy Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. We've seen what Tutu Atwell does to take a lid off the defense. My biggest concern is the Rams' defense right now and the way they're trending. What I saw in the fourth quarter against Matt Canada and company is a little bit alarming. You'd think Dallas could be slightly more innovative, but that may be giving the Cowboys way too much credit, given what we've seen from Mike McCarthy calling plays so far this year. So difficult game, and the market kind of suggests that. We saw Dallas open as a 5.5-point favorite here, Lance. Game got out to 6.5. Then we started to see a lot of support for the Rams. I am very curious to see if this number trends back in that 5.5 range, or the next move that comes in either today or tomorrow takes it towards 7. So kind of a measuring stick game for both teams. I'm more than happy if the Rams cover as long as Dallas can win and get me one step closer to going over 9.5 regular season wins.
Todd Ferman, BetTheBoardPodcast.com, at Todd Ferman on Twitter. The former odds maker at Caesars Palace continues with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Do with this information what you will, but I believe it was Monday when Dunaway said, in about as surprised a voice as you'll get out of Dunaway, Oregon's laying 6.5 at Utah.
I get points.
If I'm Utah at home. It is an interesting line. That's a tough place to play, Ferman.
It is, but this is also a difficult matchup for Utah. But much like the Steelers in the NFL, when they're home underdogs, weird things tend to happen at Rice-Eccles Stadium, and we'll see how Bo Nix deals with hostile territory. This is a series that's been largely dominated by the home team. We saw Oregon gut out a 20-17 win last year when Nix really didn't have mobility at his disposal. Credit Utah. I'm not quite sure what's taken so long for them to figure out that Nate Johnson wasn't the answer at quarterback, instead going to Bryson Barnes, who gave them a little bit more balance. When you look at Utah, they run the football at the highest rate of any Power 5 team in the country. So it creates fewer possessions in the game, and it's going to place a lot more efficiency emphasis for this Oregon offense that has operated more from a horizontal capacity than in terms of really trying to stretch the field. Utah did lose another key contributor on the defensive side in Lander Barton, but I've learned my lesson in terms of laying points against Utah in their own building, especially with a game where I think you're going to see points at a premium. I actually like the first half under in this contest at 24 more than I do a side, but I understand where Dunaway is coming from, and you've seen a battle in the market in this game as well. Every time it gets to 7, there is an appetite to back the Utes from some professional bettors.
All right, he is Todd Ferman, BetTheBoardPodcast.com, and at Todd Ferman on Twitter. Also see him on CBS Sports. Ferman, thank you very much for the time.
It is always a pleasure, and next week Dunaway will go even deeper. I'm sure we'll find a nice Division II or maybe even a NESCAC matchup at the Division III level that we can dive into from a point spread perspective.
You know, we're doing the round robin of the Dakotas, so we continue it this weekend. If you want to do a little Dakota State there, I mean, we'll talk about that, but that's another time.
You know, it's not quite the same as what it once was, as North Dakota State continues to trend down, and South Dakota is asserting themselves as the preeminent program. You can't mess with the Jackrabbits when you talk about Gateway Conference football.
You cannot, my friend.
Nothing gets me more excited than Gateway Conference football. All right, Ferman, have a good weekend, buddy. Enjoy the games.
Always a pleasure, guys.
All right, see you. Ferman with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Hey, and just for the record, we've got a stake bet on Colorado UCLA where I'm getting 19.5 on Colorado. We do not have anything on Oregon and Utah, despite my defense on Bo Nix, right? We do not have anything on that.
No.
Okay, just checking. Because after that conversation with Ferman, I don't think I want anything on that side.
You're getting 3 extra points. Right now, UCLA is 16.5-point favorite.
No, we got a one on that one. I don't want
No,
anything.
no, that's what I'm saying, but you're getting
I'll be cheering for Bo in Oregon, but everyone keeps leaning LT's way on that one.
But you're getting value on your other one, is my point.
LT's always a giving person.
He is a
so,
giver.
too, is our friends at Legacy. Listen to UAB head coach Trent Dilfer here.
Building wealth is a team effort. Surround yourself with trusted financial advisors and coaches who will guide you to financial success.
That's a great point, Coach. And even though the Blazers have a bye week this week, our friends at Legacy want you to know they never take off during the week when it comes to serving their members. Whether you're a growing family preparing all of life's expenses or you're preparing for retirement, Legacy has a service that is right for you. They have everyday checking with no minimum balance and no monthly fees, but they can also help service your new car or truck loan. Check them out online at legacycreditunion.com, legacycreditunion.com, or visit one of their 9 Greater Birmingham branches. Legacy, the official credit union of UAB and a proud supporter of UAB football, federally insured by the NCUA. And, of course, we had Trent Dilfer on this week and an opportunity for him to talk about what they're doing on this off week here. More college football coming up, including let's hear from some of the people that are playing the games this weekend. First off, LT brought this to our attention last night. Rockstar, give me cut 7. You brought up the Ross Dellinger story last night about the Michigan sign stealing case.
Yeah, well, in the TCU game in the college football playoff semifinal last year, Lil T sent it to us when we were doing the Bud Light Game Night show.
So tell us what you brought up last night.
Well, so Ross Dellinger from On3 Sports is reported last night that TCU knew that Michigan had stolen signals, and so they came out with dummy signals.
Right.
In the college football semi-playoff, and we saw that worked out, right?
You know, the next step in this, too, and now this is footballscoop.com, okay? So take that however you feel about footballscoop.com. This is not a Ross Dellinger or Mark Schlabach or somebody. But the next step of this are, and the reports are from footballscoop.com, is that there is a belief out there that Michigan might have also shared this information with opponents of teams that they were trying to clean out of the college football playoff, which has had people pointing towards the South Carolina, Tennessee, and South Carolina Clemson games in back-to-back weeks.
Oh, wow.
And, I mean, I hate to say that for South Carolina. Those are 2 good wins, but they demolished
it. It made no sense.
They demolished Tennessee.
You know,
and then backed it up with a win against Clemson.
Another point I heard on this, how good of a coordinator was Josh Gaddis 2 years ago when he won the Broyles, and then last year he's at Miami, and he was horrible.
Got fired.
Yeah. Without the information of knowing the signs. But C.J. Stroud, the Ohio State quarterback, gets asked this week as now the quarterback of the Texans.
Uh-oh.
Hey, CJ, what do you think about? Did Michigan steal signs in that game last year? Your game?
Were you aware of anything like that? Did you guys feel like there was something funny? And I guess what is your reaction to what's been happening now?
I don't know what's going on. That's my first time hearing that. Yeah, I don't really. It's in my past life. Like, I ain't got nothing. Like, I'm not the type of person to go back and be like, oh, they did that. They like they beat us. It is what it is. I'm not super happy with that, but like, man, I'm in the NFL now. Like, I'm not worried about what happened in college. But we had an idea on maybe if that stuff was going on. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm not here to go back and forth with that. I'm a Texan now, and it is what it is. I'm not tripping off that.
Yeah. What's great is when people have a tell.
Yeah. Which is what?
You ever played poker? When people have a tell, when you watch his eyes where they go, when he finishes the question, he looks really down to the left and he starts to smile.
Oh, yeah? So you think that's his tell?
Were you aware of anything like that? Did you guys feel like there was something funny? And I guess...
Rockstar says he's got pocket aces.
He knows what he's doing.
But I do like how he answered it.
No, I do too. Good attitude.
And you know the video that's been circulating where everybody shows the Michigan bench jumping down, pointing. It's going to be a pass. Going to be a pass.
He's in the foreground of that shot.
He is. Do you know what happened on that play?
Well, I read in this chat room yesterday. I don't know this to be factual.
Well, I've read it now.
Okay.
Factual. It was a pass. It was a 4-yard touchdown pass to Ibuka. So they actually knew a pass was coming,
right?
But they didn't know where the pass was going, what the route was going to be, or any of that.
And it was a touchdown.
C.J. Stroud to Ibuka, 4-yard touchdown pass on that play.
I mean, if you really want to jump down the rabbit hole here, explaining how South Carolina won those 2 games.
Oh, no, this becomes.
I know. I mean, when you start to think about it, you're like, I mean, there seems to be some validity to that.
It looked like Shane Beamer had the game plan.
No doubt. And explaining how Michigan lost to TCU.
Yeah.
TCU was not that good.
I mean, how funny is that, though? They wanted TCU in and not Tennessee.
Yeah, but the flip side of that is TCU had heard with the big layoff before the game that Michigan had stole their signs. So they did dummy signs. That story reported yesterday, too. And I was reading today on The Athletic from Max Olson, who said not only did TCU's dummy signs after the win, that the coaches got together on the trip back home and laughed about it because you could see scallions on the sidelines signaling in, and you could see on his sheet our hand signals.
Right.
He says you can zoom in and see that.
I've seen photos of that.
That our signs are on there, and we've got the dummy signs. And he is telling his guys, and obviously after quite a bit of time, they realize we're on to him. And Olsen has an unbelievable story talking to a sign stealer who works for a college football program who remains anonymous, who says it is everybody steals signs on game days.
Right.
And people look at TV broadcast and game film that is sent, and you try to pair those up and maybe get an advantage on some signs. Everybody does that. In fact, that's my job on my coaching staff. He goes, it is 100% unethical to go and record sidelines and scout in advance. Nobody does that.
But I don't know about you guys. One of the biggest mysteries to me last year, after watching TCU Georgia, was how in the world TCU beat Michigan. Like, how in the world did TCU beat Michigan? And I watched that game, and at the time, I'm like, I just do not see how TCU's winning this game, Lance. And then when I watched them play Georgia.
It makes sense now.
Well, a little bit, yeah.
In fact, it looked like TCU had Michigan's play, the way they picked off J.J. McCarthy.
Well, not only that, I mean, on both sides of the ball, and those explosive plays from TCU. That Michigan defense was really, I mean, their next level this year, they were really good last year.
But once they stopped listening to Scallions, that game got a little tighter. I mean, that TCU jumped out early, right? If I remember correctly.
That was 17-0, if I remember right.
That's right.
I could be wrong about
and then it was pretty much a toss-up game.
Yeah, it was
after
a back
that.
and forth after that. Yeah,
like 2 good playoff teams.
Yeah.
Before that, TCU was boat racing them when Scallions was saying, okay, this is a pass, and it was a run.
Yeah. Now, that said, they go down there and they 4th down, make that play. You know, Michigan should have been up 7-0 right away in that game.
Yeah. All right, just interesting. By the way, the FBI and University of Michigan Police Department are working together for an extended amount of months now on an investigation into their former co-offensive coordinator, Matt Weiss. Computer access crimes is what he's being investigated for, but a Michigan Police Department spokesperson says it is not related to sign stealing.
Michigan's got some issues, don't they?
They do, and I'll only point out that the 3-game suspension that Jim Harbaugh was set out earlier this year was Michigan self-imposed, that no NCAA penalty has come down yet from that case, which is now being investigated as well with the sign-stealing case, which also has the backdrop of this FBI investigation, which has all the computers from the Michigan staff.
What a scandalous
Do
program
you guys,
Michigan has become.
Could be a problem.
But do you not get the feeling they win the national championship?
I don't know, man. I mean,
it would just be just spot on with everything that's going on.
I mean, don't forget the NCAA president had to stand there and hand a trophy to Bill Self, and you know he hated every minute of that. Right?
And then you go back to whatever you believe, whatever side you're on, 2010 Auburn.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was against Auburn that year based on the Cam Newton situation.
Yep, and they just kept winning games.
Yeah, which Gene Chizik doesn't get enough credit for managing that dumpster fire all season long, with everybody barking at the door every week. Hydra Live brings you part of the show today. One of our 2 great sponsors we'll tell you about right here.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, all under one roof. They're open 7 days a week. 2 locations around us, one in Hoover, the newest location in Greystone, one in Homewood, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you can't make it to Hydra Live, guess what? They can send a nurse to you. For more information, hydralifetherapy.com. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Hydra Live Therapy. And remember, mention Next Round at checkout. You're going to get 20% off any of their services. That's next round at checkout.
All right. And our friends at Urology Centers Alabama, UCA. Listen, we've all got somebody in our life who can tell a great story about how early detection helped them overcome a physical problem, a possibly life-threatening problems. That's what they do at UCA. They've got 35 urologists on hand, 16 locations across Alabama, treating all of your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones. They'll take care of you. Visit urologycentersalabama.com, urologycentersalabama.com to schedule your next appointment. One more time, urologycentersalabama.com.
Subscribe and set alerts at Disrupt the Media on YouTube.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
As summer bids adieu, get ready to welcome the arrival of fall. But hey, it's not just football season making an entrance. In the world of pests, it's fall invader season. Hold on tight, because we got 4 major troublemakers stepping into the spotlight: box elder bugs, kudzu bugs, ladybugs, and stink bugs. These pests don't just knock, they barge in like they own the place. But fear not, dial up Wayne's Pest Control now, 865-588-6686, and show those fall invaders who's boss. Don't let pests crash your fall. Take charge today.
Going to a big football game? Walking around all day? Then you'll want comfortable shoes. This is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. Score a touchdown with a new pair of ultra-comfortable running or walking shoes. Come to the New Balance Birmingham store. I'm telling you, we'll make sure you have a perfect fit and we'll treat you like the starting QB. Our job is to make sure your feet are happy. Visit the New Balance Birmingham store on Highway 280 next to Chick-fil-A. Your feet will thank you.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Hey, Ryan Brown here from the next round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to the Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. NextRound.store. That's NextRound.store.
Part of our show is being brought to you by the great folks at Wayne's. Celebrating 50 years, the folks at Wayne's are, and they want to give back to you, the great customers who've been with them for all 50 years, or maybe you haven't switched to Wayne's yet. Maybe you want to do that right now. You also will get $50 off your pest control and your termite protection. Easy to do. All you do is go to the website, callwaynes.com. Callwaynes.com for the details right there. 50 years is what Wayne's has been doing, the world-class pest control and termite protection. I tell you all the time about the lawn care services they have as well. That's important this time of year because you're able to get some nutrients in the ground that makes you have that really good fresh green grass next year. So celebrate 50 years with our friends at Wayne's right now and get $50 off pest control pest control or termite protection by going to callwaynes.com, callwaynes.com. Before we get back into our headlines, which is coming up momentarily, the World Series does go tonight, Game 1, Arizona, Texas, 7 o'clock on Fox. The first pitch will be thrown out by President George W. Bush. He'll be out there throwing out the first pitch, one-time owner of the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, good for him. He threw one of the most famous first pitches in that World Series Mets-Yankees right after 9/11. You remember that?
I do.
I think it was a 30 for 30 on it, wasn't it?
He was pretty good.
Yeah,
doing that
strike
as well. Also happening in the sports world, if you think James Franklin or Dabo Swinney are going to be, fans get frustrated where their programs end up going, their buyouts are right around where Kirby Smart is. I just noticed this week. James Franklin is $65 million in his buyout, and Dabo Swinney is $64 million in his buyouts. That's guaranteed money that those coaches, as much as we talk about Dabo, at times he looks frustrated with the job right now. Very few people are going to walk away from $64 million.
Well, and the other thing, we hear the A&M, if they do pull the trigger on Jimbo, and everybody talked about for so long, that was the reason they were so hesitant about doing it. Is there any chance A&M would pay a buyout there and then pay a buyout to get Dabo Swinney? There's no chance.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money when you start thinking about both sides.
Yeah, that's the buyout to fire Dabo. I wonder what the buyout would be to buy out the contract.
No, I don't know. That's different wording.
Yeah, I will say this. Dabo has earned that buyout. I mean, he has won national championships there and has taken them to the prominent levels Clemson has never been at consistently. Franklin pretty much leveraged his. Now, Franklin's done okay he's done well at Penn State, but I don't know that he's done that kind of buyout well at Penn State.
Solid B. Right?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm a Penn State fan, I'm a little frustrated by Franklin. I'm not near to the point of wanting to buy him out, but I am frustrated.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame a Penn State fan by being frustrated by being good against everybody but Michigan and Penn State. Michigan, Ohio State.
And those are really your toughest games every year.
It's your most important games every year, and you can't beat them.
And this is an old reference for a lot of people who watch us, but I think you guys will remember, like Jim Donnan was good at Georgia, but he just never beat Tennessee and Florida. Do I remember that correctly? Like Jim Donnan, wasn't.
I think Jim Donnan was like an 8-4 coach.
Pull up Jim Donnan. It seems like there were a couple of years that they won every game but Tennessee and Florida, the two teams he had to win to get to Atlanta.
I think maybe Penn State's James Franklin is maybe John Cooper, Ohio State, who couldn't beat Michigan.
I think you remember Jim Donnan a little better than he was. He had a 10-2 in '97, but then he was 9-3, 8-4, 8-4. So he was putting out kind of a mid product.
Just 4 years he was there.
5 years. His first year was 5-6, but I left that one out. After we went 10-2 that second year, he really didn't do a whole lot. I don't know that I can't really think of an amazing comparison I remember Lloyd Carr, the Michigan coach, the old joke with him is you can't spell Lloyd without two L's.
Right.
But I don't think it was consistently to any specific teams. That's the thing that's got to frustrate Penn State fans about Franklin. It's consistently these same two teams, and it just so happens to be the two teams you got to beat to do anything in your conference.
Tell us about New York Butcher Shop. We'll do our headlines coming up momentarily. New York Butcher Shop bringing you part of the show today.
Yeah, I'm about to head over to the New York Butcher Shop later today, pick up a few steaks to cook out tonight. Absolutely the best when it comes to the certified Angus prime beef, premium pork chops, ribs, all-natural chicken cut to order just for you with a great selection of fine wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, one-stop dinner shop, 2 locations, Caba Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
9 unbeaten teams left in college football as we head to the weekend. Little T has a graphic for us to show you the 9 teams that are left, and this is where they are. Florida State, Georgia. In the same state of Virginia, you get Liberty and James Madison right there. Ohio State, Michigan, Oklahoma, Air Force, and Washington. Those are the 9 teams that are left. Cool graphic there from Little T. The remaining teams. Do we lose one this weekend? Interesting game, James Madison and Old Dominion. Liberty has already won. And Air Force on the road at Colorado State.
I was going to say, if I had to bet one team to finish the season undefeated, I think I would take Air Force.
You would take Air Force. So no worries going in to play Colorado State there in
Fort Collins.
Fort Collins. Yeah. I've been to Fort Collins.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is it a nice town?
Nope.
You want to think twice about it, Lance? You want to answer right away?
So nobody goes down. We'll have 9 next week too, you say?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
What is that Air Force? What's the number on that game? I'm looking it up right now.
It went up to 13.5.
MyBookie.ag. Okay, so it's that big. Old Dominion, you said...
I thought it was 7.5. But
yeah, Old Dominion's going to get trounced as well.
James Madison's a 21-point favorite in that one.
James Madison really good.
You know, and I said this
defense.
a couple of weeks ago that I think we're going to have some massive upsets. But when you look at the top 25 right now, this is pretty crazy. 23 combined losses in the top 25. In those 23 losses, they were by 17 ranked teams that gave the 23 losses. So we haven't seen a lot of unranked beating ranked teams.
That's interesting.
Last weekend was almost that.
Yeah, it was.
Big one.
Yeah.
You know, just like the racing at Talladega, it was almost the big one in college football where we had all the major upsets.
That big one feels like historically it comes in November, though, to me. I mean, we may look back at the dates and say, no, some of those have been in October. It feels like that big shake-up weekend normally happens in November.
I hope Emily Grace, EG, is listening out in the command center here. If you think James Madison off to a 15-3 start to start FBS is impressive, Georgia Southern's first year, they were 8-0 in conference play, and they too had to get no bowl game. They won their conference unbeaten, or went unbeaten in their conference schedule, no bowl game back in 2014. So James Madison, the legislators in Virginia are thinking about somehow taking legal action against the NCAA to get this thing waived. I don't know if it can happen. They're 15-3 in their 18 FBS games. But right now can't play for a Sun Belt championship, can't go to a bowl game, can't be in the college football playoffs. When the rankings come out next Tuesday from the College Football Playoff Committee, though James Madison likely would be in there, they're in the AP Top 25, they will not be listed because they only list NCAA eligible.
Yeah, and that's a shame, too, because if, say, Air Force, who I guess will be the highest-rated Group of 5 team, am I right about that? Is that
they are in the AP poll right now.
The general consensus is that they probably will be also in the college football playoff. If they lose, if you're a James Madison fan, you'll never know how close you were.
You'll never know.
Because they'll never rank them in that poll since they're not eligible for it. So you'll never know, would we be the next man up? You might be able to gauge that, say, off the AP or the coaches poll, but you can't gauge it off of the college football playoff poll. That's sad for their fans. Because they may never be in this situation again.
Our friends at Bromberg's, they bring you the spotlight today. LT's going to tell us about Bromberg's, and then we're going to get to our headlines. Rockstar hit that big button. Bromberg's, the place to go for the question.
Yeah, since 1836, family owned and operated. If you're thinking about popping that question this holiday season, nothing like giving or getting that silver box from our friends at Bromberg. Stop into one of those 2 locations. Sit down, talk to the Diamond Specialist today, Mountain Brook and the Summit. You can also shop online and check out all the other gift opportunities at brombergs.com.
The College Football Spotlight.
Like the game's already been played. Monday's headlines today.
All right, Monday's headlines today brought to you by our friends at Bromberg's. Rockstar's got graphics for everybody here today. Rockstar, you ready to pop them up here, my man?
Give me a second, Jimmy boy.
This will sneak up on you?
Yeah, it just snuck up on me. All right, who wants to go first?
Let's start at the top. We'll work our way down.
Me?
All right, we'll go with Brown first.
Tough way to lose a game. This is from the Salt Lake Tribune. Lanning caught with his Knicks in his hand. He forgets to put Bo Nix in the game's key play there.
Wow.
What a terrible way to lose a game.
Man, that's bad coaching.
Can you imagine that? They got a photo of him right there with Bo Nix in his hand, and he doesn't put him in the game. I mean, that is a tough way to fall.
Never want to get caught with your Knicks in your hand.
Never, Lance, especially in a key moment in a game right there.
I'd rather get caught with my Knicks in my hand than the Knicks in the door, though, right?
Yeah, oh, you don't want that. That could be coming up in a game later this year. You never know.
Yes.
Also, unfortunate news from the Lansing State Journal. The backroom got them fired last week, the entire editorial staff. That's on Rockstar, Scott, and Lunsford and Tyler back there.
Sorry,
so I hope
guys.
you all can sleep at night.
Dang.
That was the one with all the misspellings.
There was the misspellings, and they chose, rather than to have a little compassion for the Lansing State Journal, to make fun of them, and it got everybody fired.
Can I ask you on that point, was there a proofreader today for the Salt Lake Tribune?
100%.
Everything's perfect.
That's at Salt Lake. I don't know.
No,
I'm
everything's
sure,
not. I see one.
Lance, I'm sure if there's a mistake, somebody on this show
I
will find
see
it.
it.
Where is it?
Read the second one.
Dog Days, Taylor Swift and NFL player boyfriend purchased Vizsla puppy together.
Yeah, Vizsla is spelled wrong.
Oh, wow. That's got to be a tough one for the Salt Lake Tribune.
Well, at least that happy couple got a puppy. Don't get puppies.
Yeah, they got a puppy together.
Singular, very important here.
Taylor Swift, an NFL player. Aren't you happy they got a Vizsla?
Is that true? They got a Vizsla together?
Jim, these are fake.
That couple ain't smart enough to get a Vizsla.
Jim,
hey,
Dan Lanning's going to have Bo Nix in for the key play of the game.
Hey, I let them out last night. They dart out.
Yeah.
They come back 10 minutes later. They smelled like they had dismembered 15 rotting bodies.
Well, did you go check the backwoods to see?
I had a complete meltdown last night.
That's two.
Yeah, had to.
That in the Bills
Had
game.
to shower the dogs at 9 o'clock last night.
Oof. Anyway, bad loss for Oregon there that way.
All right, 3 more headlines. This is
we're in a rush. 2-minute drill.
This is mine. Can you pop it up a little bigger there? A little bigger there. There we go.
All right, operator error.
Yeah. Dunaway, no successful touchdowns. A tribute to Russia's space program. They never mastered the touchdown.
They're not smart enough.
They crash into things.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough way to go.
Auburn 12, Mississippi State 9. No touchdowns as they pay tribute to the Russian space program.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Other stories. Homeless population explodes.
Yeah,
Locally.
Brown Bandit got that suitcase. He's living in Lance's basement.
Yeah, and then young woman addicted to body paint. Halloween's coming up.
That was my favorite costume last year.
It was amazing.
It is a scary, scary proposition for young teens and into their early 20s as they become addicted to body paint.
They start experimenting with body paint.
Like your dog special. It's got a little Vizsla look to it.
Yeah, a little Vizsla look, a little tribute to our Roback maybe. Special coming up this Sunday, 100 Ways Dogs Can Cost You Money.
I mean, I can lay them out for you. I got a board mine this weekend. There's another one.
I feel like
because nobody's keeping them.
I feel like I've led 46 of them.
Yeah,
including Mentos gum this past week. Wow, that's the Dunaway Digest. Who's next, Rockstar?
How about this late night run to the border for 4th meal? Save a tree, eat a beaver. Cats upset Oregon State. Do you guys like 4th meal? You like making a run for the border?
I like any meal, to be honest. Well, I don't like breakfast that much.
Border was spelled wrong.
I'm not going to say anything about it.
No, not if the beaver's spending the night.
Well, if she's a surfboarder.
Yeah, that's true.
If the beaver's spending the night,
or a surfboarder.
Yeah, it's a border.
Look, that beaver's just in a catatonic state.
Ready to go, Lance. Ready to go.
I mean, I believe in save the trees, right?
Yeah, save a tree.
I like a good tree.
By the way, that's a great T-shirt. Is that already out there?
It's out there.
Yeah, I'm going to say so.
No, I ordered it for you for Christmas, along with your 23andMe.
Oh, please. What a great Christmas for me. All right, final one is Rockstar.
It's the Michigan Shyster Harbaugh spotted at Tesla concert. We're just here for signs, man.
Signs everywhere. Sign.
See, it's a song about Tesla.
Shyster.
I like that.
You got the Wolverine, and that's my headline, guys.
That's the headlines today. Brought to you by our friends at Bromberg's. We appreciate those fine folks so much, and also the fine folks there at Odie's. We were there last night for a game night at the Odie's in Homewood, and hey, Odie's Crestline, beautiful.
It really is.
But Odie's Homewood,
fantastic.
Look there. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of character when it comes to the original. Right there in Crestline Village, we got the story behind the styrofoam cups. Because you go around different bars, you're going to get your regular cups, not at Odie's. You get the huge styrofoam cup. 2 locations, the original in Crestline, now in Homewood. For more information, just stop in, see Will Haver and that great staff, Odie's Tavern.
All right, when we come back, a little earlier today than usual, so alert a friend if they tune in, usually around 11 o'clock for Rockstar's Playhouse. We'll do Rockstar's Playhouse next segment. And, guys, you thought T.J. Miller was funny at the Comedy Club. An old guest returns.
What?
As we head down to the world's largest cocktail party. It's the anniversary of somebody's debut next in Rockstar's Playhouse.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at HydroLive. Mention next round at checkout. Save 20% off any service. HydroLive's got 3 locations, Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
Start your day online at nextroundlive.com. Get all the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. And it's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine prepared fresh daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour. 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
DryTech Water Restoration is a locally owned company that specializes in mold remediation, fire and water damage cleanup, and SteraMist services. DryTech's goal is to provide clients with expert guidance when dealing with any home disaster. DryTech's highly trained specialists are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They will work closely with you and your insurance company to make sure the process is stress-free as possible. Call DryTech today, 205-637-0143. The moment you discover damage to your home, DryTech's team will handle the rest.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at New Life Art. Daniel A. Moore has completed his original full-color oil painting honoring Bryce Young, Alabama's 4th Heisman Trophy winner. This painting depicts the memorable Heisman-worthy go-ahead pinpoint pass to John Mechie in the corner of the end zone as the Tide dismantled the vaunted Georgia defense in the SEC championship game this past year. Use code TNR for 15% off. You can order online at danielmooreart.com.
The Next Round golf cart is back and is presented by Urology Centers of Alabama. For $89, play Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the renovated Woodward Golf Club. $247 in value for just $89. Or get bonus gifts with the Deluxe Golf Cart for $119. No restrictions, good through September of 2024, but supplies are limited. Buy right now at nextround.store.
Back with you on the Next Round as we continue on today. The show being brought to you today by our friends at Redmont Vodka, Redmont Distilling. LT and Brownie and I enjoy the Redmont Vodka so much. We had a chance to hang out with them a few weeks ago at the TJ Miller Comedy Club event there. Had a chance to hang out with them earlier this year at the big Auburn football game as well. Redmont Vodka, it's 8 times distilled. It's gluten-free. It is fantastic. It's our friends at Redmont. LT, what do you have there?
Chicken tenders from Milo's.
Chicken tenders from Milo's as he comes in.
I got 00 sauce. I got the Boom Boom sauce. I got honey mustard.
Yeah, so all that's coming in from our friends at Milo's. Remember to download the Milo's app, and you can try out their great food and get the loaded fries as well. Redmont Vodka and our friends at Milo's there. It is time now for Rockstar's Playhouse, brought to you by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. If you haven't had your roof inspected in the last few years, especially after these recent storms, call Greg Nelson, Greg from Pell City, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531 for a free no-cost roof inspection. You can also look up Greg from Pell City on Facebook. It's Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing.
Rockstar's Playhouse, this is Rockstar's Playhouse, this is Rockstar's Playhouse, come out and play. Rockstar's Playhouse, this is Rockstar's Playhouse, this is Rockstar's Playhouse, come out and play. Let's have some fun. Oh, that sounds swell. That does sound swell.
Hey,
Hey, I'm going to warn Brown, this is going to be a little blue. These are going to be a little blue.
Why are you warning me?
Because I always get a Gary. Those are really blue.
Okay.
Welcome back first. First time this year.
I like you coming out strong, since I've been here.
What now?
Y'all have added a couple shows since I've been here.
We have.
You did not. Gary didn't get one. Gary didn't get a show. But hey.
He doesn't watch your team socks?
No. He doesn't. I haven't seen it. Why don't monsters eat ghosts?
Why don't monsters eat ghosts? I don't know.
Because they taste like sheet. Hey, calm down. What Asian stereotype do you hear the most?
The Asian stereotype you hear the most?
I've got a Yamaha surround sound system.
Oh,
it's a stereotype. So
I
y'all
got
thought
it.
I was going to go big time blue.
I did.
No, sir. Y'all are the racialist
I
ones.
thought it was going to be a math or driving joke.
My cousin decided to get a face tattoo of his favorite Star Wars character.
You should see the look on his face.
Terrible.
The look on his face.
My girlfriend changed after she became a vegetarian. It's like I've never seen her before.
A herbivore? Yes. It's all year for these, huh?
Like a joke. That joke. I'm not a fan of elevator music. Are you guys fans of elevator music?
Not particularly. No.
It's just so bad on so many levels.
Do you think your Gators can stay in the game this week against Georgia?
I didn't know they were playing. Who are they playing? Is Coach Napier there?
Coach Napier.
A Mexican magician says he will disappear on the count of 3. He says, uno, dos, and then poof. He disappeared without a trace. Yeah. I just found a porn origami channel. It's just pay-per-view only. Hey, quick question, real quick. Just real quick.
Yeah.
Is finding out that your spouse has been with hundreds of men, is that a deal breaker for you?
Well, yeah, that'd be terrible.
It'd be pretty bad.
I think my wife's overreacting personally. Just let that chew on that for a second, okay? What does a perverted frog say?
What, a perverted frog?
What does a perverted frog say?
I don't know.
A ribbit?
Rubbit.
Rockstar Playhouse, it's a Rockstar Playhouse, it's a Rockstar Playhouse, come out and play. Rockstar Playhouse, it's a Rockstar Playhouse, it's a Rockstar Playhouse, come out and play. Let's have some fun.
Oh, that sounds swell.
Good to have Gary the Gator back. And Sean, you remember when Gary the Gator was originally created was for a cocktail party. It was a Georgia-Florida game back in the day.
Yeah, and I cannot remember what year that was.
It's been a while.
Because it feels like it's over a decade ago to me,
No,
personally.
I do believe it was. I don't know if we did it downstairs. I think it was. You think it was downstairs?
Yeah, it was downstairs.
So it was a downstairs studio at our old job.
That's been a long time.
So that would have been 2011. We didn't move up until 2012, right?
I saw on TikTok, it was one of those roasts that they do on the Comedy Network, and I think it was, I can't even remember who was getting roasted, but Norm Macdonald was a roaster, and he did what Gary often does, told absolutely awful jokes.
Oh, he did that. Norm Macdonald was known for that. I think he said, he told one person that, Gilbert Gottfried or somebody, he said, I am just going to bomb the entire time. It was, I think it was Bob Saget.
It was a Bob Saget roast, and he told,
I'm going to keep going, and I'm just going to keep bombing.
It was so funny.
Cringeworthy time, like, okay, this is enough, and he just kept going.
Once everybody caught on, though, it became so funny because he's intentionally telling bad jokes. And Bob Saget, he cannot stop laughing at him because he knows what Norm Macdonald's doing. And Macdonald, of course, in his way, right? He's presenting like he would present any other joke, but they're just awful jokes.
I can, and I'm sure there are people like me, but when I'm at a comedy club like the Stardome, if they are struggling on stage, I have to look at the floor. If there's a part where the comedian is not funny and no one's participating, I have to look down at the floor. That's why I can't do open mics.
I was going to say, you need to do an open mic.
No, I can't do it.
Uncomfortable before. Go to a comedy open mic.
Well, and for a minute, nobody's laughing at Norm Macdonald, like I said, until people realize what he's doing. Then once they realize what he's doing, everybody's laughing at it.
There were none of those moments last week, were there?
No, not with TJ.
Oh, and the opener was incredible.
Yeah, he was hilarious. I wish I remember his name. Absolutely. You can't smell them, but we can. These wonderful chicken fingers are here. Milo's has the loaded fries as well. You're going to surprise us with any of those today, or we need to go by the store to pick those up?
You're going to have to go by the store and pick those up.
Okay.
But I got plenty of chicken tenders. Mary Duncan is hanging out in the lobby right now. And, excited about that. Plenty of sauce, too.
Yeah, chicken tenders are here from our friends at Milo's. But also the loaded fries have been here. We debuted those on the show a while back. You see the pictures here. Queso, bacon, and jalapenos, the Mexi fries, the 100% pure ground beef, grilled onions, Milo sauce, and queso. That's the saucy fries. All you have to do is download the Milo's mobile app and use the promo code NEXTROUND. Combine those words together, next round, to try one of our new loaded fries with our friends at Milo's. Again, download the Milo's mobile app, use the promo code NEXTROUND, combine the word, to try one of the new loaded fries for free. It's our friends at Milo's, and we're going to be eating these chicken tenders a little bit later on. Still to come, our Pick 3 in about an hour. We will give you our plays for the upcoming weekend. The show brought to you in part by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Next week, Bud Light game night at the Battery in Homewood. When we come back, we talk more college football right here on TNR.
You can't ignore the elephant in the room. Watch it at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
As summer starts to fade, get ready to welcome the arrival of fall. But hey, it's not just football season making an entrance. In the world of pest, it's fall invader season. Hold on tight because we've got 4 major troublemakers stepping into the spotlight. Box elder bugs, kudzu bugs, ladybugs, and stink bugs. These pests don't just knock, they barge in like they own the place. But fear not, dial up Wayne's Pest Control now, 865-588-6686, and let's show those fall invaders who's boss. Don't let pests crash your party. Take charge today.
Going to a big football game? Walking around all day? Then you'll want comfortable shoes. This is Wes McClellan, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. Score a touchdown with a new pair of ultra-comfortable running or walking shoes. Come to the New Balance Birmingham store. I'm telling you, we'll make sure you have a perfect fit and we'll treat you like the starting QB. Our job is to make sure your feet are happy. Visit the New Balance Birmingham store on Highway 280 next to Chick-fil-A. Your feet will thank you.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, brombergs.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
This hour of the show being brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, champyschicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Get by there, see Sterling and the crew. Champy's Chicken, unbelievable food right there, including the deep fried, southern fried chicken. I'm a big 2 breast sides guy, made specifically for Champy's desserts there. All the wonderful sides, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. It's our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster, open right now for lunch and dinner and to tailgate for the weekend. Love our friends at Champy's there. Getting ready for football. Last night, a big win for Virginia Tech. World Series going tonight. All your plays at lanceslock.com, lanceslock.com throughout the weekend, all the way up until kickoff. You can go play our Pick 3, brought to you by our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings. You can do that at nextroundlive.com, nextroundlive.com. Greg from Pell City, about to pull up to Champy's right now in Alabaster. Way to go, Greg. swing by there and enjoy that great lunch. I can't wait. Our picks are coming up momentarily. We're going to talk about more games right now that are happening this weekend. That includes the big one at the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Rockstar, if you will, cut 3 and 4. Kirby Smart was that, Kirby Smart's becoming the guy that Nick Saban was for so many years, where anything that's going on in college football, they're going to get Kirby's opinion because he's won back-to-back national championships and he's number 1 in the country.
That's right. We come to him for all the issues.
That's
now,
right.
yeah.
That's right. So earlier this week, Kirby got asked about sign stealing. Kirby said, basically, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So Kirby's not going to give him a whole lot. He doesn't say, I don't think about that. Well, Kirby gets asked this week about the trend of people going for it on 4th down more now than they were. It's a trend now, going for it on 4th down. Here's what Kirby said about that this week.
Coaches are taking more risky decisions these days. Probably analytics, probably just a need to score more points. How much of it is that, and how much has all that kind of changed your own thinking on those 4th down calls?
I think it depends on the flow of the game. I think it depends on your defense and your kicking game. If you're not giving up a lot to take a smaller risk, then you're gaining a chance, to score points. And at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to score more points than the other team. I would probably say historically, teams have been probably overly conservative. Coaches have been overly conservative, and they're probably erring towards overly aggressive. I don't know. It's hard to say what's right or wrong. It only comes out right if it works, and it only comes out wrong if it doesn't. But I don't look at it that way. I just look at it as, can you out execute the other team, and can you stop the other team, and what do you think the point totals are going to be?
Yeah, see, I find it interesting because Dan Lanning was with him so long. Wouldn't you think Dan Lanning's biggest coaching influence is Kirby Smart?
Yeah.
Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, those are definitely the two. Yeah.
So, and Kirby's biggest influence may be Nick Saban.
I know. It's all intertwined.
It's got to be.
Nick is,
or his dad.
I think he's tends to being conservative with taking points. Yeah. But he's a guy that kicked an onside kick in a national championship game.
And he's going for some 4th downs. I think Saban, though, and Kirby Smart now can afford to be more conservative. Rarely are they in a situation where they have to make a choice, 4th down or the game. The times Nick Saban,
when they played each other, maybe.
Yeah, maybe when they play each other and you fake a punt or something like that, like Kirby tried to do.
But to your point, also, they've had traditionally really good defenses.
That's right.
So when you
go
go
the
for
better team,
when you go for it on 4th down, who can bail you out when you don't get it? Your defense. Your defense can. But Dan Lanning was uber aggressive. Kirby probably a little bit more aggressive than Nick is about going for it on 4th down. So it seems like the further you get away from the younger the coach is, it seems like more aggressive. And it does go to situations. And he did, and that's exactly right. He said coaches used to be too conservative. They didn't want to have to deal with the second guessing. I think these guys get paid a lot more money. They're not living contract to contract like old coaches used to. These guys are getting generational money. If they get fired, they get, $20 million, $40 million, $50 million to go away. If you don't like the way I'm coaching, fire me. I'll take my $50 million. Thank you. I don't think the same risk now than back in the 70s and 80s. Remember the heat Pat Dye took for kicking a field goal in that Sugar Bowl? He was just doing what?
Oh, yeah. And the heat he took for going 4th down in that Iron Bowl.
That's
Remember
right.
the wrong way Bo played?
Yeah, but you were talking about for him to tie, right?
Yeah, for him to tie on one, and then he got aggressive and lost an Iron Bowl.
Lost an Iron Bowl, but two big 4th down decisions in his career.
Yeah. I mean, you just back then, you didn't have the security blanket of a $50 million buyout. Now you're like, man, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to play to win the game, Dan Lanning says. And we didn't get any of those, but you're going to live with it because if you fire me, I'm going to take a big chunk, and I'll probably be coaching somewhere else in 2 years.
I don't know the exact yard line, but I think it was the 28, their own 28. Philadelphia went for it against the Dolphins Sunday night, and it was the brotherly shove play that they've perfected, which is really, really hard to stop. Like Daniel Jeremiah says on DJ Football with us, Philadelphia starts every single series at 1st and 9.
Yep.
So, but I mean,
good way to look at it.
It is, and I've watched the NFL my entire life. How often can you remember historically a coach going for it 4th and 1 from his own 28 in the middle of a game? I mean, it's not on fourth quarter.
You would see that 1 out of 15, 20 times probably.
Maybe, and now now it happens a lot.
Yep.
I mean, and even teams that aren't running the brotherly shove like Philadelphia is. I mean,
yeah, but if it's a full yard, nobody goes for it still, really.
Yeah, the Chargers coach is very aggressive in the way he approaches it.
To your point, in the NFL, a full yard.
That's a lot.
It's hard to get.
When you know a team's running the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Billy Napier. Two things on them. First, this is Billy talking about preparing for Georgia without Brock Bowers in the big game in the SEC this week. Here's Billy.
Obviously, this is not only one of the best players in America this year, last year. I mean, this is one of the best players of all time, if that makes sense. I mean, this guy's a really, really unique matchup relative to his ability to run routes and get open, his ability to run after the catch. I mean, they're handing the guy sweeps. They were handing the guy the ball. And he's a terrific blocker. You know, he's tough. He's got a really good set of fundamentals. So he made them really hard to defend, you know, and I think ultimately the matchups just change, you know, and I think these are probably questions more for them than they are for me. But, you know, we'll prepare for the personnel that we've been watching. What direction they go, you know, I think will be part of the next couple of weeks for them. But probably having an open date helps. But they're not lacking for skilled players. I mean, they got them.
Yeah, and they do. And remember, they did have the bye week, and they're preparing. How big of an impact is no Brock Bowers on this offense? Lance, you first.
I think it's huge. Go back to Jordan Hare 3 weeks ago, a month ago, and without Brock Bowers and the plays 19 was making in that second half, I don't think they win the game. And he is a guy that you can – nobody is going to be able to match up with him one-on-one. You can take risk as a quarterback that you can't take with other players.
And, I mean, this is why it is so difficult to go undefeated in this many straight games, is because you have major injuries like this. And it's why it's that difficult to win that many consecutive SEC games or overall games, just because you have to deal with injuries that affect your team.
Saban's longest streak at Bama? Do you guys know?
As far as the win streak?
Yeah, because, I mean, Georgia's got 24 going on right now, and the East typically doesn't play the schedule of the West, but still, to win 24 consecutive games when you've got to win 2 games in a playoff now and then an SEC championship game, I mean, it's just pretty insane what they're doing.
Regular season, he went from the 07 Iron Bowl all the way until the 2010 game at South Carolina, because they swept the entire 08 and 09 regular season. That South Carolina game, I think, was early October, late September, so they would have probably won a couple there. Now, you did have an SEC championship game mixed in there that you lost in 08. That would probably be his longest streak. So you're talking there, what, 16?
For some reason,
maybe 17, 18 games?
For some reason, I think they won 19 games in a row one time.
Yeah.
So if they close the deal this year and go undefeated again, they're going to be, what, at 31 going into next year?
Yeah. They're not going to do it. I didn't tell you the game yesterday. I didn't tell you the
game.
game.
I agree.
got the game.
What is it?
Missouri.
You think they lose the Missouri game?
Here's why. Missouri's got a bye this week. It's going to be that. I think it is an 11. No, is it the 2:30 CBS kick next week? Yeah, 2:30 CBS kick. You're coming off a game, you know, a big rivalry game against Florida. If this Florida game is anything at all, may not be. Missouri coming off a bye. I just think Missouri trips them up.
In Athens.
In Athens. That's where that game's played.
I think Missouri's going to be too hyped up coming into that game.
Wasn't it just last year Missouri almost beat them?
They certainly did,
which
in
I
Columbia.
think catches Georgia's attention a little bit.
And the fact that Missouri is going to be, well, I mean, they're going to have one loss. They got to bye this week.
That's right.
How can they sneak up on anybody?
Coming off a bye. It's not a sneak-up game. It's
they
just a game
should
they're going
be
to lose.
undefeated. They should have beat LSU, Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they lose. If they do, I think it's Ole Miss. And you think it's Tennessee if they lose.
I guess.
I think Tennessee's the most obvious one because it's in Neyland. You know, it's in Knoxville.
None of us think it'll be this weekend, so it'll probably be this weekend.
This will be the one. Hey, can I ask you, though, speaking of this weekend?
Yeah, after he tells us about Hemphill, will you jump into that? Tell us about Hemphill first, and then Brownie will tell us about what he's going to about this weekend.
Big October special. Got a few days left. 0% for 60 months for qualified customers, plus free Wi-Fi upgrade, 10-year labor on any system replacement. Hard to stop a train. And they'll also do the $69 fall tune-up when you mention next round. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemphill Services. Again, hard to stop a train, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Chris Doring mentioned the 5-game stretch, and he has gotten slaughtered by many of you on social media for what he said on this show. But whether or not you think it's the most difficult 5-game stretch, 4-game stretch, whatever a coach could face for the Florida Gators, do you think this next 5 games determines Billy Napier's history in Gainesville, or future in Gainesville, I should say? They're at 5 wins right now.
If they lose them all, yeah.
I mean, if they lose them all,
he's out.
He's done, and that is very, very, very possible.
But Doring was talking about Georgia's stretch, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. It was Georgia's stretch.
But the Florida stretch enlightened me.
Well, they got Georgia.
Yep.
They host Arkansas, which right now you would say Florida should beat Arkansas.
Yeah,
but,
right.
I mean, coming off a cocktail party, early kick in Gainesville, you don't know. They're at LSU.
Right.
I would favor LSU certainly in that one. They're at Missouri. I would favor Missouri in that one. And then they host Florida State, and I would favor Florida State in that one.
I mean, Arkansas is the only one you can look at and say, I feel good about it.
But how good do you feel?
I don't feel great.
Yeah, exactly.
Gun to head, no thanks.
Yeah.
Easily could be 1-4, 0-5.
Easily 0-5. And if he's 0-5, that was, what were they, 4 wins last year? And that would be 5 wins this year. I don't know that he could survive that. I don't know how big the buyout is.
It's big.
Well,
it's big. It's Jimmy Sexton big.
Yeah, it's Jimmy Sexton big. But, I mean, if he loses 5 straight right here, or you could flip it around that way and say the referendum on his future could be if he finds a way to go 4-1 in this stretch, or even 3-2, then they're showing some promise.
5-2 and just outside of the AP poll right now at number 26 is Billy Napier and the Florida Gators. I did want to ask you, and this we got asked this earlier by Daniel, and I had it ready to go yesterday and today, and we'll start with Florida. Write the ending for me for these teams. You just said Florida. So Daniel wants to know Florida. Their ending. You just gave it to me. So 1-4, 0-5. Give me a projection.
I'll go 1-4. I think it's going to be a disaster.
I'll say 2-3. They get one they're not supposed to.
I think Graham Mertz's confidence gets shaken to the core after this weekend.
Yeah, I was going to go 2-3, so that gives them a 7-win team, and Napier gets another year.
Yeah, 7-3. Regardless, I think he gets another year, but it'd be the hottest of seats next year. Paint the ending for Tennessee for me, and you can pull up these schedules if you want, Brandon.
Got it, man.
They just lost to Alabama, lost to Florida. Now they're at Kentucky. Paint the ending for me.
At Kentucky versus UConn, at Missouri versus Georgia versus Vandy. I think they may have another couple losses in there, which is going to put them at 8-4. And 4-4 in the league, which is, I think, a very disappointing ending for this season for them.
I would agree.
It's sort of what I thought they were going to be this year. I think we all talked in the offseason about them taking a step back.
Yeah.
But that's almost, I would imagine if you're a Tennessee fan, that's probably a step further back than you thought possible.
I just think we got sold a bill of goods on Joe Milton. I know we played a good first half in Tuscaloosa. But you talk to Tennessee fans, and I know you try to be optimistic and back your guy, but everybody was like, this is not going to be a big drop-off from Hendon Hooker.
Now,
and it's been a massive drop-off from Hendon Hooker.
And so had the receiver talent.
Oh, yeah.
Flip side of that, find a way to win at Missouri, which they could do, and then upset Georgia, and now it's a whole different narrative. I mean, you're a 10-2 team with an upset over Georgia, and you're feeling really good about yourself, I think.
Finish the season for Clemson for me, and then USC. Those will be the other two I do. But how does this end for Clemson? Because you have to admit – and we didn't even get into this because it was so cringy. I didn't want to get into it, but
I wish you could tell me what they do this weekend.
Yeah, but I think, what are they, 4-3 right now? After the loss last week, Dabo was either post game or at his news conference this week. I just saw the headlines. I didn't read the stories, but he was asked about, psychologically, do you have sports psychologists that work with the team? Yeah, blah 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 blah. And he actually used the phrase, he's on suicide watch right now, I'm sure, which was cringe-worthy in what they were talking about. But the psyche of that team moving forward for Clemson at 4-3, what's their ending?
Well, and real quick before you get to that, they're under 500 in conference play this deep in the season for the first time in 13 years.
Yeah, and since Dabo's really had a kick. And at NC State this weekend on the CW.
They'll win that game, but if they don't, watch out.
Yeah, host Notre Dame. I mean, that's a very winnable game. Notre Dame can really – it is a coin flip. I mean, they can really play down to the level of their opponent.
I don't feel good saying they win both of these games.
No.
Yeah. So, say they beat NC State, lose to Notre Dame, 5-4.
Georgia Tech, boy, if they lose that one.
6-4.
North Carolina,
where's the game?
It's in Death Valley, so I would go Clemson.
Give them a win.
Yeah, and then at South Carolina.
I'll give them a win. 8, but still 8-4.
I mean, 8-4 doesn't do a ton for you anymore.
Very Ray Goff-like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or very
wow.
No, I pull that back. That's very not Terry.
Tommy Bowden.
Tommy Bowden, yeah.
USC. We'll do USC one, and then we'll get to trash and all that coming up.
Yeah, so as you know, USC this weekend, as we talked about, they're at Cal.
This is their Clemson-NC State game, though. Like, if you tell me Cal wins this game, I am not going to be blown away.
So there's a path to losing.
There is a path to losing this game.
They can lose their last 4 then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think they're going to lose.
Well,
I think they'll go 2-2.
They're at Cal. They host Washington. They're at Oregon, and they host UCLA.
Yeah, I will stick to this. I think they beat Washington or Oregon. I think they lose to UCLA. So I think they go 2-2 down the stretch, but that is a massive disappointment.
Are you kidding me?
8-4?
8-4 with the returning Heisman
Hey,
Trophy
you
winner?
shouldn't have expectations in year 2. got in the way of this entire team.
Expectations, man. They get you every time. All right, that's our look ahead today, brought to you by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. He brought us the last segment, Rockstar's Playhouse, with the return of Gary the Gator. Let me tell you about protecting your house. That's what he does. He gets up on that roof, and he's been doing it for over 20 years. Locally owned Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg Nelson, Greg from Pell City, 205-542-3531. 205-542-3531 for that free no-cost roof inspection. You can also look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City, with Storm Restoration Roofing. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. On offer, he offers the best warranties in the business, and insurance companies trust him. Check him out at Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531. Brownie Jimbo Fisher talking earlier this week. He gets asked about resetting goals. Cut 6, Rockstar, if you can give me before we head to break here. Jimbo Fisher for Texas A&M. I don't know how you feel about this South Carolina. Well, I know how your friend, the Brown Bandit, feels. He feels like South Carolina.
Oh, no, that was last week.
That was
Brown
last
Bandit went
week.
South
Okay,
Carolina,
okay.
yeah.
South Carolina.
He got bit bad there.
Yeah, so he's not on South Carolina.
Not on South Carolina this week. No.
Jimbo Fisher getting asked the question no coach wants to get asked. It involves resetting your goals. You never want to reset goals, especially when you're not even to November yet.
During the bye week, do you guys talk at all about, hey, we've lost 2 in a row, but we can run the table, finish 9-3.
You're always optimistic. You have to reset. You're always resetting your goals and what your goals are from the. You break the season down 4-game increments. You know what I mean? You have 3 4-game increments and how you go. Then you have your breaks. And you got the last 5 and it's important to where you're at and what your big, like I say, your big focus goal is, which is what you want to do. You want to run those, but how to do it one at a time. But yes, I mean, like I say, we're still very encouraged, can have a very successful season, not exactly what we wanted, but at the same time can have a heck of a year and build on it and get back. And that's show our character and what we can do.
We don't watch a ton of Jimbo. We just get random cuts about Jimbo. I don't watch his press conference from start to finish for obvious reasons. He seems like he's really good at realizing a question might be heading down a critical road of him and interrupting the questioner to change the direction of the question. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and talking for a long time and saying absolutely nothing.
That's right. I just got to burn clock, baby.
Yeah, I just got to say a bunch of words, cliche it all, back and forth, and all of that. All right, JohnsonRVCenter.com. Man, we got some great stuff coming up with JohnsonRVCenter.com. Their 2 locations through the rest of football season. As we had to break, tell us about that, Brian.
I-65 exit 304 and Coleman 334 in Decatur, and always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com. The Forest River Expo. That's where people go in the biz there to see the best travel trailers, the best fifth wheels, the best toy haulers, and the best motorhome floor plans. They've done that at Johnston RV, and they've picked out all the stuff they know you're going to love, so that means fresh inventory is arriving daily. So the Call of Fall campaign is underway to make room for that, and they got fifth wheels discounted more than $50,000. Travel trailers starting at $179 a month with approved credit. And do not forget the military discount. We thank you, the military, for making this the greatest country in the nation, no question, our greatest country in the world, in the universe, no questions asked. If you're active duty or retired military, you get great discounts there at Johnston RV. Just their small way of saying thank you. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com. Trash is next on the next round.
Follow John Lunsford on Twitter @JLuntz.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations, but we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items, and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, brombergs.com.
The Next Round Golf Court is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes of golf and cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. That's a value of $247 for just $89. Or get the Next Round Deluxe Golf Cart for just $119. It gets you all 4 courses with cart, plus an exclusive Next Round Golf t-shirt, koozie, golf tees, and a sticker. There are no restrictions. The cart is good through September 2024. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Remember when LT told us way back at the beginning of the NBA season on Tuesday that LeBron James would be playing limited minutes? I think the number was between 28 and 30. And then they lost that game because he played between 28 and 30 minutes. So when they played game 2 last night, they said, to hell with the minutes with LeBron. He did not leave the floor in the fourth quarter. He ended up playing 35 minutes, and they won the game. Lakers win last night 100-95 over Phoenix there. LeBron with a pretty good game, 21, 8, 9.
It hit on the number. I said it was going to hit 2, 3, 4, or 5.
Yeah.
Because you had plus 1.5.
That's right. Right.
And it hit on 5 because Lakers ended up going off at 5.5. Here's the thing. Lakers win. They come back from 12 down, but they did it against a team that didn't have Devin Booker or Bradley Beal.
That's right. All because I put Phoenix into my mybookie.com parlay, hit the first half, and then wondered why the number changed from +1 to plus. Oh, the MVP candidate's not going to play. What?
Yeah.
What? You can go play with mybookie.ag. Just a great place to have fun with all your sports right there, but never gamble more than you can afford to lose at mybookie.ag. An NFL stat in a second after I tell you about two great sponsors. One is Champy's Chicken all the time, this hour, every day. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Some of you get ready to go to Auburn, tailgate. Take this Champy's chicken platter with you. The deep southern fried chicken, the hand-cut chicken fingers, the Mississippi Delta tamales. It's all perfect for tailgating. You can get that by going to champyschicken.com or go by to see Sterling right now. Highway 119 in Alabaster. There this evening for dinner as well and all weekend long. Great meal to sit and watch football with at home, champyschicken.com. And also by our friends at the Pants Store. If you're going to the tailgate, you got to look fantastic. Pants Store is your game day headquarters. Alabama and Auburn game day polos, hats, quarter zips. You choose from the famous name brands like Gentile, Cutter and Buck. I'm all of a sudden a DJ on this one. Name brands. Choose from famous name brands like Gentile, Cutter and Buck, Antigua, Elephant Head, and Taylor and Mick. And also the ladies, you can get everything you need there as well. Pantstore.com, pantstore.com. 6 locations in Auburn, Crestline, Hoover, Huntsville, Leeds, and Tuscaloosa. The NFL scoring is down. And last night, by the way, above average scoring with that late touchdown 2-point conversion with Tampa Bay. NFL scoring is down, way down according to the people who followed this. 43.4 points is what they're averaging through this point of the season. This time last year, not a huge difference. 43.8 points per game, so just 0.4 points off. In 2021, at this point in the season, everyone was averaging 46 points a game. In 2020, the league was averaging almost 50 points, 49.6 points per game, combined totals, which doesn't seem like a lot. But right now, we're averaging basically, 23 to 20 type games or lower. 60% of unders have hit so far in the NFL season. It was week 6. The unders were 12-2-1. 12-2-1 during week 6. Some of the reason, according to the NFL folks that follow this, the amount of bad teams this year in the NFL. And there are some bad teams.
Oh, there are some bad teams. Like in terms of this discussion, the Giants have scored 85 points this year. 85 points. We're midway through the NFL season. They have scored 85 total points.
Is Brian Dable and Brian Ferentz on the same
They
path?
are right now.
Yes.
And the Giants are about to start Tyrod Taylor again Sunday. Daniel Jones out again.
Who's better quarterback, though?
I don't know.
No, Zach Wilson or Tyrod Taylor?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's Tyrod Taylor.
I think
the Giants are going to win this game.
I think the Giants are better with Tyrod Taylor than they are with Daniel Jones.
I don't think they're any worse. It'd be hard to be worse.
Yeah, I think Forster's Falcons are really a solid club that don't have a quarterback.
Right.
So I think there's some good teams out there that have got some bad quarterbacks too.
Well, that's the point. Inexperienced quarterbacks was the other big point. They said you can look at the bad teams, but the reason there are bad teams is because of inexperienced quarterbacks who are giving you bad quarterback play. Absolutely bad quarterback play.
You know, there are 7 teams right now in the NFC with plus point differentials. I think those will be your 7 teams in the playoffs. It's kind of weird. I saw that the other day, and I was like, because I was looking at teams I think are going to win these divisions and get the wild cards. I think those are the 7 teams in the NFC.
They're blaming it on inexperienced quarterbacks giving you bad play, is what they're saying.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. That and the fact that they're bad teams.
I mean, Bryce Young's been bad. His offensive line's been horrible.
He has.
Doesn't have any weapons.
But, you know, I mean.
Justin Fields. I mean, you go to all these inexperienced quarterbacks.
Yeah, but Denver's 2-5, and there's nobody with more experience than Russell Wilson.
Ryan Tannehill. I know.
Ryan Tannehill with the Titans.
I know that you've played multiple quarterbacks.
Yeah, it wasn't 100%. Absolutely, it's only because they were just saying there's a lot of bad quarterback play from inexperienced guys out there.
Yeah,
that is helping add to the low scoring. You know, sometimes those guys are in the other half of a game that are making it, or they're paired up against each other. I mean, Baker Mayfield's not inexperienced, but that's a bad division of quarterbacks right now. The NFC South, the whole division.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought Derek Carr was clearly the best quarterback in that division, which would make the Saints the favorite in that division. And so far, the Falcons have the lead in that division, and they certainly don't have the best quarterback
But
there.
if you gave the Falcons any of the other quarterbacks, even Baker Mayfield, I think the Falcons right now are probably sitting at 5-2, and they've got a comfortable lead in that division.
Yeah, but they're still in first, right?
They're 4-3.
Yeah, 4-3.
The only winning record in that division.
Probably go ahead and book those playoff tickets.
Well, I think Saints end up winning that division.
Forrester, I'd go ahead and buy those playoff tickets if I were you.
Get them early, Scott.
I mean, you get your money back if they don't make the playoffs. I know you guys don't experience this with the White Sox, but you can go ahead and secure your playoff tickets if you want, and they'll kick the money back. Yeah. Let's do trash, Rockstar. Hit the big button, man.
These are the people that are banned from my funeral. Don't let Bertha in. She tried to hook up with my husband. You all know Billy. He's the worst ex I ever had. And I know he's going to try to go to my funeral. His sister can't come either.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Let the experts at Mortgage Right help get your financial house in order with locations in Birmingham and Leeds. You can take control today. Visit Mortgage Right at those locations right here on Highway 280, Parkway Drive in Leeds. You can apply mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. So we've got a drunk driving game, which was available on the Nintendo Switch eShop, has been pulled from sale after it initially used a PEGI 3+ rating. Now, somebody in the back room is going to have to give me what a PEGI +3 rating is. Y'all all don't jump on the mic at the same time.
Yeah. Well, let's go with
That's
Tyler.
a rating system like we have the ESRB here in America. I believe PEGI is Australian.
I mean, that is just...
Okay, if you the need for a Spirit Drink and Drive simulator was released for the Switch on October 15th. Contains game plan of, quote, hapless professional driver tasked with delivering alcoholic beverages to various celebrations, all while battling the perils of abysmal roads and your own addiction to the booze you're transporting. Now, with, quote, immersive camera modes and an added exciting twist of drunk vision, the game is, yes, a drunk driving simulator.
Well, I mean, if it makes it really, really hard to do and you, like, drive off a cliff, that would be a good lesson to the kids. I mean, the kid I don't want is the kid that's like, oh, I got this thing conquered. I can drink and drive anytime.
There's that one kid that I play better when it's
That's
drunk
what I'm
driving.
saying, and that's your fear, right? Is that there's the one kid that figures out the game too easily.
He's already run over a fence.
Yeah.
So those ought to be kegs. I don't know what those are.
Barrels of bourbon, LT.
Or oil.
Yeah. A weird game.
So Garth Brooks refuses to put his music on any streaming service, right?
It's actually available on Amazon Music. You have to pay, if I am not mistaken, an extra, I don't know what it is per month, but I think there's an extra like firewall you pay to get to the level where you can get Garth's stuff.
Well, he's been busy producing his forthcoming 14th studio album, Time Traveler. It's going to arrive on November 7th. The 10-track album will be included in Garth's new 7-disc box set, the Limited Series. Here is the catch. Limited Series on sale, only available at Bass Pro Shops.
It's CDs?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think their Bass Pro Shop has a streaming service.
Well, why would you buy a CD?
That would be a cool streaming service, though.
It would be.
Bass
Streaming. I guess streaming, yes.
Purchased online will ship in mid-November. The limited series will include 2014's Man Against Machine, 16's Gunslinger, and 19's 3-disc Triple Live, and 2020's Fun.
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why are people buying CDs?
I don't know.
Do you guys have a CD player?
I don't.
I don't either.
I might have one in the garage somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, some people, I would imagine at some point CD players become what the turntable was in recent years, and it becomes a retro thing.
I just don't understand his... I mean, he's got more money than he could ever spend. I just don't really understand his stance on this whole streaming.
He's a trailblazer, man.
I mean, I guess it's working for him. You can't really argue it. If Bass Pro Shop's lining up to sell his CDs, I guess it's working.
I would say there's a percentage of Bass Pro Shop customers that have CD players.
I mean, there's a percentage, yeah. But, I mean, if you want to reach the masses...
This is going to be the one that's going to make you cringe. You ready? Good folks at the New England Journal of Medicine offer some fresh nightmares right ahead of Halloween. How about an ear spider for you? Now, in a short clinical report published in this week's issues, doctors in Taiwan detail the case of a 64-year-old woman who went to an ENT clinic. She came in complaining of having an incessant ruckus in her left ear.
Ruckus?
For 4 days. On the first day of the symptoms, the woman said she was awoken by a feeling of a creature crawling in her ear canal. That feeling was then followed by days of clicking, beating, and rustling noises. It didn't take long to find the problem. In a physical exam, the doctors easily spotted the spider moving about its cozy new shelter. Wasn't exactly alone. During its 4-day stay, it apparently molted, leaving its shed exoskeleton in the canal as well.
So that's just one spider in the exoskeleton.
Yeah,
it's not like they didn't start having babies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you get two in there, though, that's a possibility, Jim.
Yes.
As long as one's male, one's female.
I mean, I think PTSD for a lot of people on this one, right?
Oh, that'd be horrible, man. It only takes once, and I think that it's in there forever.
Yeah.
He's got big-ass eyes.
Oh, boy, it does.
A lot of them.
Scary.
So young people aged 13 to 24 are looking for less sex scenes in television and movies, according to a new study out in UCLA. Now, as a kid, look, I like seeing the occasional boob pop up. The gratuitous sex scenes in good movies, I think it's unneeded. But I've got a theory here. Now, from the School Center of Scholars and Storytellers comes the Teens and Screens report, which reports that 52% of its adolescents would like to see more content depicting friendships, platonic relationships, instead of sex and romance.
I know why.
Well, because you can go to the internet and get porn.
That's right. They have.
Well, no, but the thing is, like, I'm fine with it being implied that they just had a romp session.
I mean,
I don't need to see it.
Give me a movie where an actual sex scene added to the movie.
Top Gun.
I mean, I was actually thinking about that. That's really the only one I can think of.
Took my breath away.
Well, I mean, but I was a kid, so
The Notebook
hit a little different.
When
for me.
Elizabeth gets a hold of her rapist victim in
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo?
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah, that's a good
I mean,
scene.
rarely, though, do you say, like, that scene had
Titanic.
the movie had to have that scene. But see, that's not showing
that was
the
just
act.
popping a hand.
Yeah, that's a hand on a window.
Yeah, I think they did that good. I mean, right.
That's the unspoken. I actually respect that more because it's not gratuitous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I think it's because of the.
I think it is too.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I'm just saying I don't think a movie's going to change.
They're not just reading out of Dad's Playboy.
Timing's not going to work on this. This would be a great bracket payoff, though. The inaugural Florida Man Games is coming in 2024.
Whoa.
Now, Florida Man memes and headlines will come to life in real life with competitions and events like running through an obstacle course while evading an actual cop, beer belly sumo, chicken coop bingo, a mechanical gator, and a cash grab inside of a booth that has hurricane force winds. Don't forget about the mullet contest as well. So here are a couple of events. Tickets for spectators are $45 to $145 for the VIP. It's going to be February 24th, St. Augustine, Florida. Here are some of the things. The weaponized pool noodle mud duel, in which participants battle it out with pool noodles in an above-ground pool. The evading the arrest obstacle course, where you jump fences, run through backyards and other obstacles while a real cop chases you. Category 5 cash grab, where a contestant goes to a booth, tries to grab cash that's flying around in tropical force winds. Don't forget about the catalytic converter, 2 bikes and a handful of copper pipes race against time. Head-to-head race where that's everything the race has said that it actually is there. And finally, the beer belly Florida Sumo, which is basically people with fat bellies trying to push the other out of an arena.
The catalytic converter contest. Did you see? I cannot remember what the story was. It's perfect for trash, but it's been so long ago now, Rockstar. A guy had stolen a catalytic converter and is trying to sell it on Facebook Marketplace, and he shoots a photo of it to put it up like on Facebook Marketplace, and in the background behind the photo is like a bag of meth laying on his coffee table.
That's not my coffee table.
And the cops are like, we'll tell him we're going to buy this thing. We'll just show up at his old joint and arrest him. And guess what happened? Oh boy, got booked.
Yep.
There was a British model. I don't know his name, but he was leaving London Heathrow, and they were searching his bag, and they started pulling out baggies of cocaine, and he acted like.
Never seen it before.
Whoa, who put that in there?
That's not my bag.
So that was the route he took.
Right.
What route would you?
I don't think that route really works.
That's why they said, did you pack your own bag?
Nope.
I did.
Never saw that bag.
Yep.
That's not my bag.
I don't think that's my bag.
Yeah, they've changed my name tag back in the back. I don't know what has happened here.
I don't know how I got
$5,000 in cash. Oh, that's mine. I don't know how that got
the problem is surveillance. Like back in the day before all these cameras, the way to do it is you pack 2 identical suitcases. You get somebody else to check it, and then you check one, and you go get the one with your drugs in it. And if you get caught, then you've still got that other one on the conveyor belt. This wasn't mine.
Wait a minute.
And if you don't get caught, you just leave a bunch of clothes you didn't want.
Wow. I like the way Lance has always thought through it, don't you?
Lance was a great criminal in 1977.
It would have been easy to be a criminal back in the day.
It would have. Much easier than now.
Yeah.
I bet it was. That's our trash today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Hey, are you a veteran looking for a VA loan? Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available, guide you through every step of the process. Visit their locations, Highway 280 in Birmingham, Parkway Drive in Leeds. You can apply online, mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, talk of champions with Tyler Watts as our overtime. You don't have to change the channel or anything. That's coming up at 12 noon Central at the top of the hour here. You can hear Tyler talk about lessons learned from the Tennessee game and going into this off week for Alabama before LSU comes to town. LSU also on a bye week this week. Missouri, as Brown pointed out, on a bye week this week. Meanwhile, Georgia has to play next week. Missouri gets Georgia in what could become a juicy game. First college football playoff rankings out next Tuesday night. Who's number 1?
It would have been Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know now.
Yeah.
Oh, you think the committee will?
Yeah, I think they will.
It's
especially some of these old school guys.
Yeah, it's hard for that not to impact these guys. I don't know the people that are even on the committee right now, but I'm sure there's a former coach, and
or
there's
two,
or a coach or two, and there's administrators.
Keep in mind, this first one they usually make a point about strength of schedule on the first one.
It could be
Michigan
Florida
got
State.
That.
Could be Ohio State.
Could be.
Because, Forrester, can I get the multiple ranked wins already?
Well, I think Georgia will get helped out this week if they dominate Florida.
That would help a little bit. Almost ranked. Multiple ranked wins already. In a chance to be number one, you have Ohio State and Florida State sitting there, both with multiple ranked wins already. Utah already with multiple ranked wins. Notre Dame, Ole Miss, Washington State, Oregon State, Texas, Alabama, and Missouri. Keeping Alabama and Missouri very much alive with their one loss on their pursuit for the playoffs. But as far as the first college football playoff rankings, no Michigan on that with multiple ranked wins, but Florida State's, Ohio State's there. I would say it's one of those two teams, Florida State or Ohio State.
Yeah, I don't think Michigan will be number one. Your selection committee is Mitch Barnhart, AD, Tom Berman, I don't know who that is, Boo Corrigan, AD, Rick George, AD, Chet Gladchuck, I think an AD, Jim Grobe, former coach, Ward Manuel, AD, Will Shields, former player, Gene Taylor, AD, some other people I don't know. So you got a lot of ADs and players and coaches on there.
I still think there's going to be some respect for Georgia winning right now 24 consecutive games. Florida basically right now is a ranked team. I know they're right on the outside. They've already beaten a ranked team in Kentucky. I think Georgia could get benefit of the doubt.
They could. But of those teams, Ohio State beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame was on that list with multiple ranked wins themselves already. Yeah. I would go Georgia, Ohio State, Florida State, Michigan in that order.
Yeah, and I don't think any of these teams really care.
Yeah, they don't. The first one's always a wild. I mean, we had two Mississippis in the very first one of all time in 2014.
So you don't think Oklahoma will get respect for that Texas win?
Well, I think they will.
Yeah.
But I think they'll be fifth.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be in front of those four.
Because that would be interesting if they put Oklahoma in front of Michigan, and then when the guy does the interview with Reese afterwards, he's like, Oklahoma's got that win over Texas. Michigan hasn't beaten anybody that we even have ranked.
Yeah.
Which would be the case, right? I mean, I don't think Michigan will have a win over anybody they've got ranked.
I don't think so. Not yet.
Yeah. So, I mean, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because if Michigan is not one or two, that is going to be the natural question. Why did you have Michigan ranked so low? They've been undefeated. They've dominated everybody they played. I would be interested to see how Boo Corrigan, who I believe is the chair, answers that question.
Well, Ross, Ole Miss has beat LSU and Tulane, both nationally ranked.
Yeah, he was asking who their other ranked win was. Yeah, it was Tulane when they were, I think, 25th when they beat them, 24th to 25th.
But ranked right now, you have Tulane is still ranked at 22 and LSU is still ranked at 15. Right there for the Ole Miss Rebels. All right, when we come back, we make our picks for this weekend. I was 1-2 last week. I think we all were 1-2 last week in our pick three.
I've been terrible.
See if we can go 3-0 when we come back on the show that's being brought to you by our friends at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino. They bring you to studio every day. And don't forget Bud Light, the great folks at Bud Light. They just filled up our kegs, new kegs here for the next few days here on the show. And we'll be at the Battery coming up in Homewood next Thursday night for Bud Light game night.
Our Monday morning quarterback is Fox Sports' Joel Klatt. Every Monday at 10:25.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
The extra hours of sunshine are back on the clock, and that means it's time for golf at Timberline, a short drive from Birmingham or Montgomery. Go to timberlinegc.com, timberlinegc.com to book your tee times, schedule a lesson, or just drop by and use the TrackMan technology on the driving range. The course is always fun, in great shape, and you can even become a member. Get all the details at timberlinegc.com. It's time to get your golf on with our friends at Timberline.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live Therapy. IV therapy treatments are packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, and boost your immune system, and more. If you mention the Next Round at checkout, save 20% off any service. You can join the IV League today. Members are rewarded with deep discounts. Make sure you ask about that. HydroLife Therapy open 7 days a week. Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping on some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And in our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, LT takes off the gloves for in-depth conversations with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find these podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
Back with you on the Next Round. Buffalo Wild Wings brings us our pick 3. If you don't know what the pick 3 is, if you're new to the show, we've been doing this for years. We did this year 1, right? It feels like. We started.
Well, I think you guys did it before
we were
ever
did.
together.
That's right.
Yeah, this goes back to the DMV
Yeah, I
days.
think we brought it all.
Yeah. So when we mentioned, hey, we did this whole segment of picking games on Friday. Do you want to do it? And LT's like, picking games against you
kidding
guys?
me?
I'll do it in a heartbeat. So we've been picking games since 2010. We've all got together. Pick 3. You can play it. Nextroundlive.com. Nextroundlive.com. Lunsford runs that game over on our website. It's up all the way until kickoff of the games on Saturday. It's Saturday games only. I think this year you play any Power 5 game you want involving the Power 5, and you just click and you choose your games. It's really easy to figure out on the website, nextroundlive.com, and it's always brought to you by the great folks at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings wants to remind you they've got 11 Central Alabama locations, including that new Buffalo Wild Wings Go location in Vestavia, wall-to-wall TVs, all locations, 26 sauces and seasonings, along with a full menu of great burgers, wraps, and salads. Go see our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Notre Dame, by the way, everybody's still asking about multiple wins. Andrew, they have Duke and Louisville. Louisville's a ranked team. Nope, they lost to Louisville. Who's Notre Dame's other ranked win? Dun, 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 dun.
USC.
Yeah, USC.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you very much.
How quickly we forget.
Piecing all those together.
Yeah.
In order to go and get into the drawing for the grand prize winner at the end, you do that by going 3-0. 3 wins, no losses. 2-1's great. 1-2 is not good. 0-3 is horrible. I've been at all those except for 3-0. I haven't been perfect yet. Got to be a perfect 3-0 on a given weekend to get a ball in the bucket for the grand prize at the end of the year. More balls in the bucket. We had Krusty earlier says he's already got 3 balls in the bucket. So 3 different times through 8 previous weeks, he's gone 3-0. That is so impressive. Way to go, Krusty. See if you can be 3-0 this week by going to nextroundlive.com, and play the Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3. Rockstar, hit it, man.
Pick 3, it's time for the Pick 3. 3 for you and 3 for me, that equals a Pick 3. Say goodbye to your family, it's time for the Pick 3. Only time that I'm happy is when it's time for Pick 3.
In the current standings, it is a dogfight in the race for a championship. LT is back to the 500 line at 12-2.
Falling apart the last 2 weeks.
I am trying to climb out of a hole at 10-4 and currently standing on Brown's shoulders, who is 9-15. So much so, Brownie, you said what before you show us your picks? That you have a formula, and you've done what to that formula?
I went to mybookie.ag during the last commercial break and closed my eyes and just scrolled and stopped on a team, and that's the team I've picked. I did that 3 times. So these 3 picks. When I say I have picked 3 teams blindly, I literally blindly picked 3 of them. I did this and stopped. And whatever team I stopped on, that's the team I picked. So all 3 of these come out of left field, completely blind, no thought behind it. MyBookie.ag, close my eyes, point at a team, and go. I may as well have thrown a dart at a dartboard.
Or spun a wheel.
Or spun a wheel. You want them?
I want them.
You want them?
I want them bad.
Cal plus 10.5.
Okay.
Actually, not a bad pick, I don't think, but I got that one. Western Michigan minus 3.5. Know nothing about them, but they're
give
laying
it out
3.5
for
on the
Lance
road.
Taylor, head coach there. Bright young head coach.
That's the one thing I know. Lance
Yeah.
Taylor is the head coach. They're laying 3.5. I found out on the road. And then Appalachian State minus 17.5. I actually kind of like that one, too. They're playing Southern Miss, who was absolutely awful, and they're playing them in Boone.
You've got almost the same color scheme on all three teams. How
Yeah,
about that?
I went straight black on all three teams.
No, I'm talking about
yeah, their actual color scheme. Yeah, you're right about that. I didn't think about that.
Black and yellow.
Yeah, so Cal, Western Michigan, Appalachian State, my completely blind pick 3. There's a 3-0 for you right there.
Yeah,
100%.
Cal technically, I used to think when I was a kid the New
Dark
York
blue.
Yankees were black, but it's a very, 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 very
I think they go
dark
back
blue.
and forth. I like when they had more of the royal blue, but I think there is some black in it.
Yeah, no, you're right. There is a uniform combination they have that are Ram colors.
Yeah.
that are really good. I'll go next since I'm not in the lead. We'll save that for LT coming up. I played power last week, and that worked for me to 1-2. So I'll go power again this week. Surely the power.
Yeah, when does power fill?
2 powers and an upset. I'm going to take Arizona plus the 3.5 is what we have it at my bookie. Actually, it's plus 3. You get the half. Georgia minus 14. Throw the hook on there. Minus 14.5. And Texas minus 20.5. BYU is not the same BYU that we're used to seeing. They're a bad football team.
They've struggled to run the ball.
And in Texas, and opponents they faced 5 or more times in the history of the program, they have the worst winning percentage against BYU, 1-4 all time against Sark's alma mater.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
1-4. They dominated Alabama all the
But
time.
Texas will win that game. I don't know if they cover, they'll win the game.
Do you worry about Malik Murphy here?
I don't. I mean, I
don't know where that rumor's coming
if
from.
If Arch starts, they could lose that game.
Yeah, now I didn't see that story that Arch may get more of the playing time. I just saw where Malik Murphy was named the starter on Friday and by Sark, and that he's been getting most of the reps all week long. I have not.
It's just a rumor. I haven't seen it reported by anybody that has any sort of credentials.
It's not 100%. It's probably not 80%. It's probably not even 50%. But there are more reporters in the world now.
I know,
because everybody has a smartphone and a connection to the internet. That so many things you read that you think are just that's some random guy who just maybe knows somebody who has somebody at practice, but it turns out sometimes it's real.
Have you seen how there was a poster on, I'm not going to know the name of it, it's Tennessee's message board, that back in January is like, hey, I don't know if there's anything to this, but a buddy of mine in college football says Michigan's been spying on their opponents.
Wow.
Like they've been buying, and he even said it, like they've been buying actual tickets, sitting across from the bench and videoing their signs.
Back in January.
I think it was back in January.
What is the message board there? The ball drop?
I can't remember what it is now.
No, the ball drop. I like that.
Yeah.
Like the ball drop.
God, what is the name of it? It's got a Tennessee-ish name.
No, there was nothing. It was like Vols Nation. It wasn't anything.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
one per ball.
This guy back in January, and then he came back in July and commented again, and they've got the screenshots of the post, and they're like, I mean, y'all can laugh at message boards. 99% of it's rumor, but occasionally these people know what they're talking about.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because people who have inside information, usually they want to share inside information.
VolQuest. Yeah.
Named after a popular bar.
Yeah. No, I think anytime people have inside information they think nobody else knows, it makes them feel important to share it.
They want to share it. They want to share it.
Well, guess what?
You got some important information, right?
I have not done this all year, but this is the triple dick whipping.
Oh my!
3 parlay of the year.
We used to have the triple lock box back in the day.
Yes.
So this would be Virginia. They finally win a conference game. Big upset last week against North Carolina. Miami lay it. They will lay the wood. Ole Miss, typical Lane Kiffin spot against a really bad team at Vanderbilt. They'll roll it up, and then UCLA against Prime coming off that. I tell you, they come off a bye bad. They will come into off a bye bad again, like UCLA.
By the way,
big numbers.
Fowler and Herb Street. Don't erase it. I don't need a picture of it. Fowler and Herb Street on that call from the Rose Bowl. Herb Street and Fowler, Colorado, UCLA.
It's game day.
ABC.
If Carl Durrell is still the coach, are they on that call?
No, not
chance.
at all. Game days in Salt Lake City for Oregon and Utah. I was watching Herb Street at the end of the game last night, or maybe it was earlier in the game when it was a blowout before it got crazy. And he said, Al, I'm going to be in your neighborhood on Saturday. You should come by, swing by the press box. And Al's like, California traffic. I'll need a police escort if I'm going to make it up to Pasadena.
Can you not see with the power that Fowler and Herb Street have at that network, and a couple of the few that actually have the power? But those guys say, you know what, we're going to be here game day. Let's go to L.A. for a good night, good weekend.
Yeah, and you get Deion. I mean that's it. Primetime ratings and I do mean primetime with Deion Sanders ratings in primetime on ABC at 6:30.
And I think that's an effort too for ABC to try to beat the World Series. They don't think they won't do a victory lap if that game beats the World Series.
Well, that'll be what I want to see, Brownie.
Yeah,
I think it will.
I want to know college football with Deion Sanders on ABC versus baseball on Fox with the World Series. Who has the stronger ratings? Anybody want to put a?
Will you guys even have
a guess on that?
Well, I don't think I'll have a TV on World Series.
Oh, I will not. It's a bad World Series.
I will tonight,
name wise. I just wonder if a little bit of the new has worn off on the whole Deion thing now that they've started losing. He's been a reliable ratings winner all along, even when they've lost.
But they're fun games because
they are.
If you like points, there are points that are being scored.
And I like watching Travis Hunter play.
Yeah, and Shador is entertaining as well. Keep in mind that window, Colorado, UCLA, Tennessee, Kentucky, I'll have that on one television. I'll probably go quad box and put Vandy and Ole Miss in there. Cincinnati, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's gotten pretty good lately.
Ohio State, Wisconsin. Don't sleep on it.
Yeah, Ohio State, Wisconsin's on a main TV on NBC. You know how many times since 2007 Wisconsin's beaten Ohio State? Outright for good point spreads?
Since 07?
I think 0.
I would say none.
One time.
Yeah.
One time. I mean, how many good Wisconsin teams have there been?
There have been a lot of them.
In that time.
They said one.
And they just beat them one time with all those great Wisconsin teams.
Luke Fickell against his old team, though.
Yeah. Hey, what is Team 1, by the way?
What team won what?
Well, I mean, our late 11 o'clock game. This is old school Hawaii.
What the crap is Team 1?
You'll have to do, it's an app, Team 1 app. You'll have to do Uzi.
Got to pull Uzi out at some time. I don't think anybody's going to be up watching, so I don't think it'll get jammed up and buffer on me.
Yeah, so that's at the end. San Jose State, Hawaii at 11 o'clock here local time. 10:59, they put it down. They like to kick it while it's still a Saturday. I think there's a rule against playing a Sunday game. So they kick it off 1 o'clock.
Okay, so we are unleashing our Halloween costumes Tuesday, right?
Tuesday,
that is
during
correct.
the show.
So I've got to make sure I'm going to a Halloween party. I cannot take any pictures because I don't want to give.
That's right. Don't want to give it away.
Guys. Unless I should go with something different Saturday.
That's up to you.
Well, that's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I would say no photos.
Do I know what you're going as?
Nope. Nobody does. Not even me.
Yep.
The party is this weekend, right?
I've settled on mine. I was so uncomfortable for 4 hours last year in roller skates and in that box and a wig.
For the team, man. You were a gamer. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Lady Bird's mom. She did a good job with that.
She did. I'm coming in complete comfort this year. I'm a nudist. I'll be nude.
Please don't. I'll be absent.
Brad will be. Rockstar's going to be Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's going to paint me like his French girls.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
I'll paint you all day.
That's next Tuesday. Oh, I could come as Travis Kelce, Daniel. God, I wish I'd have thought of that.
Oh,
Nobody's gonna be doing
that's
that.
going to be the most popular costume out there. Taylor Swift to Travis Kelce.
1989 dropped today, Taylor's version.
Oh, thank God.
Don't know why we're even here today.
That's what I'm doing right now. About to listen to it.
And it's Nevada Day.
Talk of Champions is next with Tyler Watts. We're back with you Monday. Hey, pregame show tomorrow, 9 a.m. on all our video platforms. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Jim Dunaway.
Time for the Talk of Champions. If we were not in a business complex right now in our studios, we'd light up a cigar. What a win last week against Tennessee. He's Tyler Watts. Let's talk about the Tennessee win, bye week, the rest of the season, where Alabama is right now, all of that right now with the Talk of Champions, brought to you in part by our friends at the Watts Agency, his company.
I'm still celebrating, baby. I'm still letting it
The afterglow.
I'm still letting the shutout in the second half soak in and enjoying every minute of it. No, but we would love an opportunity to talk to you. Insurance rates are crazy right now. The insurance market is going out of sight. Just check us out at TylerWattsInsurance.com.
I'll tell you this. It's 20-7. Could have easily been 28-7. They settled for a couple of field goals, or Alabama held them to field goals, however you want to look at it. I've never, ever in my whole life, including as a kid, given up on a game. But I did on Saturday. It was 20-7, And I remember texting a coworker of mine. I said, this feels like it's going to be 41-17 Tennessee when it was over with. I had given up.
I can understand completely why you felt that way. Tennessee had not looked that good offensively all year long. They were running the ball, as we all knew that they would be able to. But the fact that Joe Milton was so accurate, I think he was 9 of 9 on his first couple passes out the gate. Yep. He was on fire. And then even after that, it was a couple of drop passes that prevented him from being perfect throughout the course of the first half. We hadn't seen that all year long. Offensively, we looked typically like we do in the first half. Just couldn't get any rhythm going offensively. Too many 3-and-outs. Weren't able to respond. Struggling to establish anything on the run game. But then it's all about big plays in that defensive unit of being able to force field goals, keeping your football team in the game. And then you hit one big play, and all of a sudden you got the momentum back in your favor. And you're right. It was a first half completely dominated by Tennessee, yet you found yourself only down 2 scores. And quite honestly, you had the opportunity to go up at halftime, 14-13, if you're able to connect after the turnover inside the red zone, and we don't get the interception in the end zone.
Yeah, I will tell you, in the second half, if you're Tennessee, coming out of the locker room, the one thing you got to think on this first drive, don't let them get something quick. Make them earn it if they're going to get any points at all. In the second play, Isaiah Bonds beat them deep, and Milroe seems to never overthrow the ball, puts it on the money, and get a big touchdown, 46 yards.
And the Alabama offensive line held up, and it all started with the first play of scrimmage when Tennessee they had a defender trip in the secondary, which allowed Jase McClellan to bust out for a 30-yard gain and set up that home run opportunity there at midfield. So it was a bunch of things coming into play all at the same time that allowed Alabama to get right back into the game. And that crowd was so amped up. This is what I was talking about. The crowd was amped at the beginning of the football game, and there was nothing for them to cheer about. And then all of a sudden, place erupted. They were back into the game. You get a 3-and-out, take it down, you score again. Now you got a ball game.
Oh, man. Momentum was unbelievable. It's a big win for Alabama. It changes the whole conversation for this off week with no games scheduled. First, before we put Tennessee to bed, you've been in those locker rooms after a win in that game. And for these players this year, and I assume it was this way some back when you played and other times in history, not that it ever got redundant beating them 15 straight years. I mean, it was still fun. But after 1 year of not celebrating and smoking the cigar, and maybe at halftime thinking, man, they may be smoking them on our field at some point, the joy they had smoking the cigars, explain to us what that was like as a player getting to, when it's a back and forth rivalry like it's back to now.
I have no idea.
Chance to smoke it.
I have no idea what it's like to beat them 15 years in a row.
Right.
Or even 2 years in a row. But I do know what it's like to beat them 1 year in a row. It's amazing. It's the most fulfilling. And everybody talks about, well, this rivalry doesn't mean anything. The Auburn game is more important. The LSU game is more important. I think all that depends on your age. But it still means a lot to these players. Everything that goes on around. And you got to understand this. Players feed off of the enthusiasm from the stands. And the stands feed off of the enthusiasm from the players. So when the players see those cigars being lit up in there and they see the Tennessee fans vacating, that's a whole nother level of excitement that it kind of breeds inside of them, and they want to be a part of that. It's the first time in my life I think I've ever seen, outside of an Iron Bowl, the players come back out onto the field and celebrate with the fans.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just getting old and a little more emotional, but I thought that was cool.
Yeah, you got a little chills,
really cool.
right? Yeah.
Because, and here's why. This is what we talked about on the broadcast too. In an age where everything has become about money and corporate, that was college football again. The players and the fans interacting, celebrating a common hatred, a common a goal, achievement, win. That was cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
It even meant a lot to Nick Saban because he went around and thanked the fans for their enthusiasm as he made his way holding a cigar into the locker room.
And I'm sure at some point it took somebody 5 seconds to tweet out, oh, this means that he's retiring.
Yeah.
But it's not a farewell.
Yeah.
It's just an appreciation.
Just an appreciation for that one Saturday. We appreciate our friends at manscaped.com, manscaped.com. The promo code for us is TALK20. When it comes to grooming yourself for a big event or just daily for the office, Manscaped's got you covered head to toe, including below the belt. A lot of great lotions and ointments and balms to help your beard stay thick, your hair, anywhere else on your body. Manscaped's got you covered, and you can get 20% off with our promo code. Use it to buy the razors or the shaving kits or anything that you get at manscaped.com. Manscaped.com, the promo code
is TALK20, and we appreciate them so much. Use our promo code TALK20. Okay, it's not a bye week. It's not an off week. It's just a week without a game because the guys still work. But what do you get accomplished on a week like this as a player? Like, what is Jalen Milroe? What is, all the Jase? What are all the guys working on this week that's going to help them with the back half of the schedule?
So the fellows who don't wear a non-contact jersey every single week, this is an important week for them to heal up. When we talked about this, you're healing up physically, you're healing up emotionally and mentally, because this has been a strain mentally on the preparation every single week that has to go in to these games, and it strains on you. It really does wear down on you, and it's an opportunity for you to kind of recharge the batteries, get away from it for a little bit, and then refocus as you go down the home stretch. Guys like Jalen Milroe, it's just another opportunity to go out there and continue to just work on your craft, becoming more accurate with the ball, better in your decision making, quicker in your decision making, and those type of things. And then for the younger guys who aren't playing 50 snaps a game, it's a chance for them to get reps. They're going to go out there, they're probably going to scrimmage some, they're going to get more reps in practice. It's just going to be general stuff, that base offense, base defense, that they're going to be working on communication so that they can hopefully take that next step to be able to contribute. Maybe not this season, maybe in the bowl season, but definitely next year.
In my eyes, Jalen Milroe has gotten better every game. I'm not sure it's a good time for an off week. I'd almost want to roll right in out of that win last week to play LSU immediately. It is what it is on the schedule. What do you make of Milroe from what we saw week 1 or week 2 to Texas to where we see him now the second half against Tennessee?
There has been improvement, I would say. Sometimes the thinking process is quicker in his decision making, but then there's other times when it's a little slow. But I always remind myself of this. I'm looking at it from the 40-yard line, 100 yards up off the ground. Everything's crystal clear. You can see the defense develop, and you can see the offensive patterns coming into play and the spacing, and all that's perfect. It's a perfect vantage point. He didn't have the benefit of that. Everything he's doing is really quick and on the fly, and it's avoiding big people. He has improved, though. He really has improved in his control of the offense, his understanding of the offense, and what he's doing out there. Yet he still hadn't put 4 quarters together. And that
with
is
his whole team. I was going to ask you that.
That's not just him.
This team has still got its best game out there somewhere.
And that's what's discouraging about it at halftime, but also encouraging it by the end of the game, is you realize the potential of what these fellas have in them if they can put it together. But there's some times where teams are just fast out the gate and slow after halftime, and other ones are slow out the gate and fast after halftime, and that's kind of what we got here. But it's nice to know that the defense is good enough to keep you in every football game until the offense can figure things out.
Do you think this team has a 60-minute effort in it, that it can play what we saw in the back half of the Tennessee game from start to finish? And is that what they need against LSU, do you think?
This is a game that concerns you, and we're not ready to quite break it down just yet, but you're going to have to, you potentially may have to play a style that you're not used to having to play. We thought versus Tennessee you need to score 30. Well, offensively, you really only scored 24 or 27. But against LSU, you got to be capable of scoring 35, 40 points potentially, depending on how our defense plays and how many field goals we force. Can we do that? Well, any other style of play that we've been forced to play, playing behind whatever, we've been able to do that. So maybe those guys will. There is a confidence that goes into knowing that you're going to find a way to win regardless of what the circumstances are. And it's a mindset that it can't be explained, but it's a belief inside all these guys that regardless of what's going on, we just know we're going to find a way to win.
MyBookie.ag, MyBookie.ag, that 110% deposit bonus. You get it when you use the promo code next round with MyBookie.ag. We appreciate them so much. Take advantage. Play the games right there at MyBookie.ag. Use the promo code next round for a 110% deposit bonus. There were some injuries in this Tennessee game, and you had a couple of guys step in that I thought played great. When Terrion Arnold left the game, Squirrel was having a big game. He had 100 yards receiving for Tennessee in the first half. Disappeared in the second half because of the guy who came off the bench and was on him a lot.
They kept throwing that little comeback on the outside. They'd run 12 yards, come back to 10 to 8 yards on the edge, and we kept giving them cushion, and they just hit it over and over and over. Because we're you can imagine the mindset of these DBs. We're not going to get beat deep this
That's
year.
right.
We ain't getting beat.
Not like last year.
No. So we were giving a little bit of cushion, and they took advantage of that. Pop, 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 pop. Second half, Trey Amos comes in, and enough times that had been thrown, we said, no more. Beat us deep. because we think we're going to get to you before you can throw the ball. We don't think you're accurate enough to hit that pass that you did for the touchdown over and over and over, or even once again. And he wasn't. He wasn't good enough. So Trey comes in. He jumps that pass, forces Milton to double clutch, allows Chris Braswell to get to him, scoop and score. And now all of a sudden the game is completely different because now you're up 2 scores. So the defense played much better in the second half, really closed down those passing lanes, didn't give any cushions. But the defensive front is the difference makers throughout the course of this game. Really struggled in the first half, stopping the run as well as getting to Joe Milton. Second half, he says they went from an odd man, 3-man front to a 4-man front. That really helped them out. You would think taking an extra defender away from the secondary would hurt you, but it established the line of scrimmage, prevented them from being able to run the football, and it also allowed us to close in on that pocket and muddy up the waters for Joe Milton in the pocket. And he was not the same guy.
Yeah, and hats off to the corners and the safeties to be able to cover their guys, one-on-one with less security back there. I will tell you, too, Jahad Campbell, he was forced into more playing time, more snaps because of an injury. And he goes 9 or 10 tackles. He was there on the scoop and score, but 10 tackles.
Second leading tackler behind Deontay Lawson, who had an outstanding game.
Both of those guys.
But Jahad Campbell is a fellow with Trez Marshall out, kind of banged up. He didn't get an opportunity to play, so now Jahad Campbell comes in. Coach Saban was very complimentary of him in the post game. Talked about, a couple weeks ago he fills in for Deontay Lawson. Now he has to come from Trez, so he knows both these positions, and he played outstanding. And it's been fun to watch him because you can tell he's feeling more comfortable and more confident in what his responsibility is, because he's playing at a whole nother level speed-wise. He's much faster, recognizing things, playing within himself, and all these guys are so talented, but sometimes when they're not sure about what to do, it slows them down a hair. You can really tell that he's understanding things.
I want to ask you, after I tell you about lanceslock.com, lanceslock.com, get all the advice about the games, whether it's your office pool or whether you're, going to throw $1 or $2 down somewhere. lanceslock.com with your plays every day. You can sign up for a day, for a weekend, for a month, for a year, however you want to do it. Get the details at lanceslock.com, lanceslock.com. You've got the end in sight. You got LSU, you got Kentucky on the road, Chattanooga, Auburn on the road. 4 games that can make this season. And obviously you got to take them one at a time. But you're here at this point of the year, and everything you still want is still out in front of you. And that's got to, as you mentally sort of take in where you are in the season, in this game, the week without a game, that's got to sort of add a little bit more juice to you, knowing that, man, all the learning we've done these first 9 games, we're still in a great place right now.
It is, but isn't there another side of you that wants them to be so hungry with the fact that nobody thinks that you're worth a flip? You're winning by luck and by the aid of the referees. You can't accomplish anything. That's going to be the internal challenge I'm sure these coaches are playing with these players, is don't be comfortable where you are because you hadn't accomplished anything. The West ultimately will come down to this next weekend versus LSU. We all know that. Quite honestly, if it doesn't go your way, it's going to be probably an early kickoff versus Kentucky. How do you respond then? You definitely don't want to drop 2 in a row. So the hay ain't in the barn, so to speak. This is still a football team that hadn't played a consistent 3 quarters, let alone 4 quarters.
Yeah, good point.
So there's still plenty of room for improvement, and that's really where the focus needs to be.
The question I get asked most in our chats is fielding of punts in Kool-Aid McKinstry. What do you think is going on there?
No idea. I've heard all the different theories that everyone else has. Well, coming off a rugby-style kicker, it's got a little different look to it or whatever, but surely we can replicate that in practice. It's just probably poor judgment of not wanting to make a mistake, therefore I'm unwilling to take a risk, which isn't always bad, unless it hits and rolls an additional 30 yards and goes down inside the 5-yard line.
Right.
But these are punts that they need to be fielded, even if they're fair caught. They've got to be fielded where they are to prevent that extra bounce, because that could have been a pivotal point. All of a sudden taking the ball over at the 30-yard line versus inside the 5 really changes, and everybody knows it. We're going to run the ball. We're going to force Tennessee late in that game to burn their timeouts and punt it away. That's 3 first downs that you just gave up to your opponent. That was a big deal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Nick Saban saying on the SEC teleconference this week, still full faith and confidence in Kool-Aid McKinstry and the judgment on whether to catch it or not catch it. You got to trust him. He's the one that's out there. And if he doesn't feel good about going to get it, he'd rather it hit and roll and get it on the 5 than fumble it on the 30.
And for y'all that don't understand, this ain't like going in the backyard and having your buddy kick the ball up. These suckers, go field a punt from a college football guy and what they're able to do with that football. It's amazing what these punters are able to do.
I agree. So we see this team. They do so many good things, right? So many young players who are in here playing right now, and then there's the coaches who, and I think Tommy Rees. He's been an offensive coordinator before, but he's a young coach still. It seems like he is getting a little bit more comfortable with the players he's calling plays for. It seems like that second half was about as good as I've seen Tommy Rees call plays.
You come in with an idea of what you want to do. And granted, probably most of that, 90% of it is already set in stone. This is what we're going to do, Tommy.
Yeah.
And then he takes it and he models it based on the talent and the abilities of this football team. Next year will look different even more. But sometimes you can try your best to practice against yourself and your defense, and you're not really getting an accurate look. It takes time to realize what you're not able to do, and then really study game film and preparation and put a finite plan together against this week's opponent for you to dial that sucker in. We are getting better at what we're doing. Timing is everything. And we always talk about this because of the lack of two-a-days now and the way camps are worked out. These guys have 20 less practices than what we did 20 years ago. And that's a significant difference.
Yes.
That's several weeks behind. So there is a learning curve, talent curve, whatever. NFL experiences this now too. So here you are mid-season. You know what you're good at. You got confidence in your guys. Your guys have confidence of you and what you're asking of them. And then things just start gelling.
I got a question about Jase McClellan I want to ask you. After I tell you about Rowback.com, great golf gear. I don't have any on right now, right today, but it's fantastic gear. And we got these wonderful leisure pants that's good for business, good for golfing, casual wear, whatever, going out on a date night. Rowback.com. Use the promo code TNR20 and you'll get 20% off your first purchase. That's promo code TNR20. I love the fact that you can give the ball to Jase 11 times, you can give it to him 16 times, you can give it to him 21 times. He doesn't seem to mind the workload. In fact, I think he seems to get better the more you give him the football.
He's been having to share the load for 3 years. Heck yeah, he wants the rock in his hands. He wants that opportunity. He ran as hard last Saturday versus Tennessee as I've ever seen him run. He was fighting for an extra 2 or 3 yards. He was bouncing it to the edge and using leverage to pick up a first down when you thought, hey, just get down. Don't try to fight for any more. They might knock it loose, cause a fumble. No, he was doing the extra effort that it takes as a running back, and you could tell his offensive line really appreciated that. And when you see that kind of effort out of your players, you're more anxious to give them another opportunity because you realize that's who the ball needs to be with right there because he's going to make something happen.
Left tackle playing a little bit better too.
He did. He had a couple of gives. Got beat inside once or twice. A couple of miscommunications, especially on some pressure packages. It's going to happen. It's something that you can go back and study and make sure everybody's on the same page. And it's always a work in progress. But here we are. We're late in the season now. Okay, so the I'm a true freshman excuse is no longer valid.
That's right.
You use time to step it up and show improvement every week. And hopefully last week was a step in the right direction.
I'm excited about this team down the stretch. You?
Well, you were ready to throw them off a cliff here a couple
That
weeks
was
ago.
halftime.
Okay, fair enough.
That was halftime. I'm excited about what this team could do. I mean, if you can beat LSU, I think you can beat anybody in the country.
I think I would say even that right now, the way that they're playing, they are capable. And there's a lot of teams out there that are not capable. They don't have the talent to beat anybody, to beat many people, quite honestly. This team has the ability to, but they have to harness it. They got to figure it out still. And it's not a done deal by any means. They're going to have to scratch and claw for every win throughout the rest of this game, outside of probably Chattanooga. But they are capable, and that's a good starting point. Now they just have to go out there and perform.
Yeah, cue up Chattanooga running through us like a 10 horn. Yeah, that week game. Remember that. All right, Watts Agency one more time, and we'll leave you with one final awkward question for Tyler.
Yeah, thanks. I'm already teed up now, and I'm already nervous. Check us out at TylerWattsInsurance.com for all your home, auto, small business insurance needs. We'd love an opportunity to talk to you.
Some guys get a chance to go home on the bye week. Well, on your bye week back in the day when you played, did you go home? Did you go hunting? Did you go to a girlfriend's house? Where'd you go?
Yeah, it was always typically right before LSU, which is quite honestly right around now. Of course, I think we had it a little flipped around a little bit different. It was a little later in the year. So we would either go hunting for a weekend, but you still had to practice throughout the course of the week.
Yeah. But usually a hunting getaway?
Normally, get away in the woods.
Yeah, in the woods. Yeah, it's a good time to break away from football. You didn't watch football, I assume, on Saturday.
No, we still watch football.
You did?
Yeah, you still check out things that were going on.
You did? Okay, that's interesting. That's Talk of Champions. We'll be back with you game week for LSU, the big one next week. Remember, like and subscribe and tell your friends about it, retweet it or whatever. He's Tyler Watts, former Alabama quarterback, and you'll hear him on the Crimson Tide Sports Network.